Welcome to Smosh Reads Red Stories. I'm Shane, and today's theme, red flags. And I'm joined by two people who are absolute red flags. Courtney and Trevor. I agree. Wow, actually, that honesty, red flag. Hi, how's it going? It's a morning. This is our first day up today filming. I don't know if you guys can tell the vibes. We're getting up from filming at 8 a.m. or 6 p.m. Glad to get a different flavor.
I still stand by the statement. When I heard get your pancakes out, I think we're talking about my flat ass. Get your pancakes out. Get your flat ass out. It's Saturday morning. That's how it sounds. That's how it sounds to me. Get your pancakes out.
That's what I've always meant.
That's what it sounds like.
Alright, so I've heard that these stories are going to have a lot of red flags. Green flags might be a little more rare. But we have the flags there if you ever so choose. Feel free to raise them whenever you want.
Yeah.
About the stories.
Shout out.
I don't have to wait to be called upon. Free reign.
To be told.
This is awesome. Do you think
Praise your fly, yayas.
do you think you both are good at catching red flags at this point in your life?
I think so.
I think it's a red flag of mine that I like sniff out red flags. I'm like, everybody, some people are human, but not a red flag themselves. And I'll be wrong.
I think I used to be a lot worse at it. I think actually, worst of all, there was a time in my life when I would see red flags and then choose to, and I'm talking about my personal life. And that's kind of what I'm regarding here. It's just like, in your own personal relationships and stuff, which is kind of recognizing that. But I think we've all gone through that. And you kind of have to deal with a bunch of red flags to get to a place in your life where you're good at seeing.
Yeah, I think it's good to always, like, if you want to be one who notices red flags really well, but also being able to notice the green flags too.
That's true.
I think I need this side. It's better than this side. But definitely, I got it.
That is a skill that isn't talked about as a good way to get to organize your life as well.
I appreciate that.
Very well. Let's get into this first story here.
Let's go!
Yes!
This comes from Am I the Asshole? My boyfriend refuses to buy me female products, pads, and now I'm upset. Way to go, dude. I'll make it short and sweet. Me, 25-year-old woman, and my boyfriend, 28-year-old man, have been dating for over 3 years. Yesterday, we had a conversation through text about him going to the supermarket to get pasta because we're having people over and I was going to cook. Mind you, he gets out of work before me, and the supermarket is 3 minutes away from home. Everything was fine until I got my period right after I was about to leave my blanket. I texted him to please grab some pads for me, and his answer was, I'm not doing it. Then I said, I'm going home. They're on the personal hygiene aisle. I need them. His answer was, so go get them? And I replied, aren't we going to the store? He said, yeah. So I replied, I'm telling you to please get it for me. And his answer was, I said I'm not doing that, but you keep asking. And I ended the conversation by saying, okay, thanks. Then he said that we shouldn't have people over tonight, which made me more upset. I ended up getting them myself while having pain and a bunch of toilet paper wrapped around my panties to not make a mess. I always say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. If he feels uncomfortable, he could have said, I'm sorry, but that makes me uncomfortable, so I won't be able to. And I could see it with a different perspective. However, he is 28, and I think it's a very immature thing to be embarrassed about. And before you ask, this was my second time asking. The first time, he got it from no problem. When we were living at his mom's house, which she used to do everything for him, so at this point, I think she was the one who got it.
I'll raise the flag.
I've never understood why guys are like embarrassed by the notion of buying pads. Because my take is if a guy in a supermarket is buying pads, what people think is, oh, you got a
still clock that white flag for later. Like, I get if it's a boyfriend's or guys or anyone's first time buying beauty products for somebody, being like, oh, don't get more nervous. Can you like, I don't know if I can. I'm nervous I'll get the wrong one or whatever. It just doesn't sound like that's what he's at. And Beckham also like, actually we shouldn't have people over because we're basically have a wild lion in the house now because she's over here but she's not out. Like,
Guy like me, I go to the store and tampon pad out. Is it?
just peruse.
Yeah, I just study. It comes up on the tab. Take a look at it. Yeah, take a look.
There's
You know,
all the time.
I just want to make sure I know that.
There's been some upgrades. I saw
Cups, yeah. Oh, the Dunico model. It's really sweet.
It's just me though.
Fun fact, if you're ever nervous about buying something at the grocery store, not judging you, you buy a birthday card. Or like it's like a prank or something. Like if you're nervous about buying a vibrator, or you're nervous about buying condoms or like enemas, buy a birthday card. Like so you're like, this is
You can buy enemies at the store.
at the pharmacy. There's enemas there.
Why I kind of started watching things like that recently, so I don't know why that just seemed like a serious thing.
Yeah, no, it's easier to buy an enema than birth control.
Wow. I'm gonna go look.
Look at them. That's so fun.
The first time I bought condoms, I remember being so embarrassed and so nervous and just being like, this is crazy. And I, of course, go to the cashier and I just have the condoms there. I probably bought some other things just to
Right,
look at and just, you know, other stuff. But they, of course, like some sort of like, not an error, but something where they had to then ask for assistance. So they literally, like, they literally held up the box. They're like, hey, well, what's the deal with this thing? Like, or something like, can we bring up on this? And just there, just holding it out for the world to see. And we just,
It's going to bed.
I had the funniest comment story. This was great. This gas station getting snacks. So I was there. And I was like, it's like my legs. And I went up to the register, and the person behind the register was like, you tried it from the kitchen. I was like, yeah, no, that's me. I was like, can I just, yeah, I'll take my tropical Skittles and condoms in a bag. Sure, yeah, give me a bag.
Oh my god.
Yeah, pretty brutal. That's brutal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Our fans don't know that any of us have sex. They don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's going to be shocking.
Oh boy.
Some comments on this. If a dude cannot fathom the full extent of what happens in a vagina without being an idiot about it, he has no business entering it. Not the asshole. Find a boyfriend who respects women.
So that's comment? Green flag.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Someone else said someone who's not adult enough to buy something as trivial as pads or tampons isn't adult enough to be in a relationship. Someone else said your boyfriend sucks. It doesn't happen often, but now and then my wife needs me to pick up pads or tampons for her. Like any reasonable guy, I would. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, Reddit often jumps to like getting your boyfriend to break up with them. But I have a hard time believing that this is an isolated thing. That this is probably a lot of his behavior is probably reflected in this. And it is also something of like, do you want to live with that forever?
Yeah.
A person who's not willing to do something for you, as simple as this,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be the case for the other things. It's just sad. It's just like, he's just not on our side.
Yeah, like when they, if they eventually get married, it's like you shouldn't be in this pregnancy alone. If that's the plan, like it's microcosms of things down the road for sure.
Yeah.
Today's episode of Life Stories is brought to you by If you're trying to see a therapist, you only take some You shouldn't have to settle. ZocDoc is a free app website. Search for high quality show.
Update. Actually, wow.
Swing Shameful's update.
I think we're about to get a lot more info on this guy.
It's exciting.
Yeah, have the red flag ready. We had a conversation last night, very long one, and I said everything I needed to say, including reading those text messages out loud to him, when he was in any way defensive. He called himself an asshole and recognized that what he said was really dumb. Here's a breakdown of his answers. His vapes and his vape ran out, so he did warn me in the morning about nicotine withdrawal. So he said he was dealing with that all day and it made him irritated.
Oh my god, your vape hormones are up. I'm so sorry, sir.
As someone who quit vaping and had nicotine withdrawal, that's not an excuse.
He said the supermarket he went to was a small Italian supermarket and he didn't have personal hygiene rules. He said his mother never talked to him about this stuff. He had a past relationship that was a short one and he said that he was never asked to get this before. He said, I didn't know it was an emergency, otherwise I would have gone before you with no hesitation. He also admitted that it is not that he's embarrassed, he just feels social anxiety. Then I explained that there's a selfish echo. He said the last time I asked him to get me pads, he was at BJ's, and even though it was his first time, I sent him pictures of what I needed. He felt anxious, but since I said it was an emergency, he got it anyways. And I think, he called himself an asshole. He should have just been like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And that's what we're back to.
I'm not a fan of that. It's like, I did this way and I'm so sorry and I was just embarrassed and I could have done it anyway. Like, it's not helpful and like, I just feel like it shouldn't have to take all of this, and you shouldn't have to say it's an emergency and like, he literally said, like, it's so funny that he's like, no, my emotions are going to be out of whack today, just so you know, like allowing himself the space to ask for that and then not allowing her to ask a favor and like, there's just a lot of poor communication where like he could have said like, oh, the market I'm planning to go to won't have that there. Like, and it's just
I think this is one of those situations where he's 28, she needs to expect him to be this way forever.
He's 28.
He's 28.
Oh my
28.
god, I missed that. That's tough,
and
man.
going, I've never been asked this before. I was never asked. My mom never told me about this. It's like, okay, buddy, you own your home. We will things.
It's also, I don't need to know about this stuff. If you tell me to buy something, I'll be like, yeah, I do.
Sometimes that's scary to ask questions too. You're like, what kind? Or I'm like, to be honest, it's your partner. Like, you guys have been together, is it 3 years? Like, you can be like, hey, okay, I'm nervous. I don't know what you're going on. What is this? I'm anxious, like, about buying it. Like, you can be honest. It's not that scary.
I feel like all you need to do is just like, hey, send me a picture of this specific brand. Send me a picture of the box and I'll put that box. But who cares?
There's more embarrassing things to be asked about. Can you imagine if your significant other asked you like best friend? Dude, no, I can't.
I'm just thinking about, like, one day he's going to be sick.
There was an edit apparently in this where she admits that there was one time where he had an emergency and she had to wipe his ass.
Dude, oh my god.
Red flag is raised here. No, if someone wipes your ass, I think you owe them to buy $5.
You don't need wiping ass. People eat ass, bro. Buy something that's going to be near her ass.
I think at that stage she needs to reflect on the give and take of this relationship because she's doing a lot for him. Hold on, here it is. Here's the words. I would like to add an anecdote. 2.5 years ago, he had a horrible accident while skiing, fractured his right leg, and dislocated his left shoulder so he couldn't move it all the shower, and even pee or poop. Guess who helped him with all that? Me. So that was 6 months in that she was doing all that for him, and now, after all of that, he won't even go buy the pads. I don't know, man. That's tough.
Another moment where he cares more about passionate you buying period products and having someone, his
Like that probably is. I'm like, okay, man.
Being notorious for buying pads and tampons.
Buying plugs for women. Like that. It's so dumb. Okay, our next story comes from best friend updates.
Oh, hey, 40 feet apart.
No. It's a 30-year-old man. My partner. It's a 30-year-old man. My partner, 30-year-old man, won't let me sleep, and I don't know what to do. Okay. First off, I'll say I have sleep issues. I find it very difficult to get to sleep and stay asleep despite taking medication for it. And when I finally do sleep, I snore. I've tried so many times to fix this. Nose strips, adjusting positions, spoken to my GPs about it, nothing worked. I can't control it. My partner has taken to it. Instead of rolling me over, just losing his patience and kicking doors open, yelling, screaming, hitting the bed to scare me awake. This has started a few months ago and was super infrequent, but has now picked up and is happening multiple times a week. I'm now having an even harder time getting to sleep. Bedtime is giving me so much anxiety, my body is on a hair trigger. I wake up at the slightest noise and never fully drift off anymore because I'm just expecting to be woken up in an extremely aggressive manner. I feel like I'm at the end of my tether. How do I get them to listen and just let me sleep? I mean, it's ridiculous to be scared of going to sleep when your partner's home, isn't it? I don't know what to do anymore. I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially. I don't have anywhere I can stay. We live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like I can just sleep somewhere else and still support us. He's so angry all the time though, and I don't know how much longer I can be around him. I just want to be left alone to sleep. Please. Oh my god.
You said she can't break up with him because he depends on. Wait, sorry, is OP?
It's two 30-year-old. So he's saying I can't. Hold on. I don't know what to do. I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially, and I don't have anywhere I can stay. We live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like I can just sleep somewhere else. So it sounds like they're already in like a kind of a high stress situation. They're stressed financially, and then not being able to sleep is extremely stressful. How their partner is reacting though is super unfair and not good. They need to talk. I was like shaking on the side.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's terrifying. It's like sleep can be, I cherish sleep a lot. So like I can understand when you need to sleep at a specific night or something like that. It can feel really, it can feel gratitude and then not getting to sleep. And that's just not fun. I don't understand getting up, slamming doors, screaming, shouting. That just feel like I don't understand how this is happening, and then are they talking about it or what's happening? That sounds like a nightmare.
But what's up to me is that he was saying that they've tried everything. The nose strips, adjusting position, spoken to many GPs about it. Like they're trying. It's not like they're. I would understand a little bit more of the frustration if they're like, oh yeah, whatever, I swear, I gotta do it. But they're not doing that. They're trying everything they can, and it doesn't sound like the partner of the information we have. The partner wasn't trying anything. They're like, I don't know what other solutions there are. Like, you gotta find solutions instead of this.
Yeah, you just gotta talk. Like, you just gotta talk. Like, if I was in the situation, I'd be like, hey, clearly this is not healthy for either of us. I know that things are tough right now. It's just, I mean, it's weird because it doesn't really reflect on the dynamic of their relationship, but it kind of still does. Where it's like, I would never be willing to slam doors and scream and bang things with you, you snore, but
The truth comes out.
you are, I would say, this is a good job. You're a very deep sleeper, and there have been times where the snoring is a punchy roar, and I will sometimes all it takes is like a release, or sometimes it's like this, but then sometimes I'm like, change.
crazy. It's funny because I really struggle with sleeping. It's very hard for me to fall asleep. And Ray, huge, like insanely loud, crazy snoring. And if she's snoring really loud, it's almost like fun. It's almost so crazy that I like sit up in bed and I'm like, I gotta listen to this for a second. Because this is insane. Like that crazy of snoring. I want to get a snack. It's unreal.
I've been, because like I felt like this was the worst summer was so bad growing up and now so and I found for me, I can sleep through a lot of noise if it's consistent.
Yeah.
The problem is when people are snorers who are like all over the place. That's tough because you don't know what to expect. I just don't love how quickly this sounds like this got you yelling, slamming doors. Like this person sounds scared. So this behavior that this other person is showing is extreme. I do think this is a major red flag to me.
Yeah. I think I would become tonight.
They're not. I don't like it. If I was from, I need to know more information about this. I think this would help. This is very serious. And I mean, it's like yelling is just never okay. Comments, someone said, you leave. This is abuse, plain and simple. Sleep deprivation is a torture tactic for person. I think it's one of those things that if I were to talk to people, like, hey, like, listen, your partner's supposed to be someone who cares about you and trust me, and you are on the edge and scared. So are you really in a relationship?
Especially while you're asleep. I think that you're having the most vulnerable, like you should be able to rest and sleep.
Is sleep paralysis to it's like, oh, like, hey, oh my god, Someone said, have you been evaluated for sleep apnea? That is often a cause of snoring and can be a serious condition. Opie said, I am in the process of trying to get my GP to assess me for this, as I do fit all the criteria. We're doing the let's check off and rule out the options part before they do.
It's such a grueling process too. Like it's stressful. With the sleep apnea, you have to spend the night in hospital and like monitor your sleep.
Update.
Best of Reddit updates update.
Yeah.
The paralysis demon swooped in and saved you.
I've never made an update to a post before, so I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Please let me know. I posted well over a year ago now, closer to 2 years at this point, about my sleep snoring issues causing aggression from my partner. And some people seemed really concerned for me in the comments, so I felt the need to update just so people know my opinion. So to update, not long after the post, I sat down with him and explained how upsetting my behavior was. He changed it. We aired our grievances, did some reflecting, and realized it was unsustainable, so we implemented changes and improved. Isn't it wild how communicating can fix problems? A lot of people know we were done with me, but we have been together for years and never began another try to see if we could find a solution. The first change was sticking strictly to separate sleeping areas, and sleeping separately helped so much. Seriously, we are so much better rested in our own spaces, and our sleep routines aren't being disrupted by each other. Also, fun sleepovers with no sleeping. Haha. Sleep deprivation was making both of us crazy stressed out, and we were not being able to get out. And in particular, I've reached out to my GP since and am currently still on a waiting list for a sleep study to confirm sleep apnea, which is not ideal, but at least there's movement there. I love the NHS, but don't love how long these wait lists take. Period. He also started therapy soon after my post, and we found out that he's autistic, which we suspected before but didn't know what to do about. He got diagnosed resources on the topic, and we both learned so much about how to deal with it. He's done so much work on recognizing pleasure and being overstimulated. Yeah, loud snoring, extra distressing for him with his sensory issues. He didn't understand or identify. And redirecting his anger into healthier outlets. He's now trying to get me to get assessed too. I'll say something like, below the scissors. Below this thread is hanging off the seam and touching my arm makes me feel like the skin. And he'll just hold up a book on autism and point at me, which is fun. And now,
Just fun.
and on our financial situation and mission list, it flipped. We found a job and then I lost it. So we're no better off on that front. But sleeping and as a couple, we're doing so much better. I want to thank so many commenters on my first post for helping me realize it was not healthy or okay for either of us. We're still working on it, but we're in a much healthier, happier place. All right, green flag.
That's like putting in work. And I had a feeling, I was like, I hope that they can find a way to sleep separately. That's becoming a lot more common nowadays in all like types of communities and partnerships, like having their own bedrooms, having their own beds, and just finding a so doing little things like that. That's super common. And that's really great. Like it sucks that it's a stressful experience to help people figure themselves out. Now they know that they can talk about themselves a lot more. So that's cool. That's some green flag stuff. And I saw doing those things, I would appreciate it. I think that those screams
Yeah, and I'm assuming other conversations that we had. It's an ongoing process, and this post would be 2 years after. So maybe there was a lot.
Yeah, and it's not, it seems like they're very emotionally intelligent people. They're like, oh, I might have like something going on and getting diagnosed with autism. Like that really helped get them understand themselves and stuff. So,
Great. Our next story comes from relationship advice. Husband, who's 35, bought me, 31-year-old woman, the same earrings I have worn daily for the last 2 years.
That's so That's such a guy thing to do.
Okay. My husband and I are in our 3rd year together. Got married legally last year. Our wedding is later in 2025. I have often pointed out to him that I love sweet gestures, such as receiving meaningful gifts when the occasion arises, versus a gift card or generic item. I went out of my comfort zone and asked him directly if he could buy me earrings for Valentine's Day this year. He said yes, and even asked for some brands he could look at. I gave him some suggestions and let him pick from them. He gave me the earrings today, and it's the exact same pair I have been wearing for the last 2 years, every single day. I've worn them the day I first met him, the day he proposed, the day we got married on paper. I couldn't hold back on honest feelings that I felt so invisible to him, that my doubts of him not caring about the little things were just confirmed by this. He got upset at me for getting upset at him. Fellow ladies, how did you affect? I feel like we need more information. I want to know what he, because I think, so she's saying that he was unaware that those were her earrings. I think that's what I'm inferring, because she's saying I feel invisible. That's my interpretation, is that she's like, you didn't even realize that these were the same earrings. That's what I think she is thinking and saying, as opposed to, oh, you bought me another pair of these earrings because you know I love them, so
yeah.
understood.
Yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, some earrings last forever, but some don't. So if you were to buy me like a same pair or a newer pair, I'd be like, oh, this is sick. This is great because sometimes it lasts, it gets a little loose and things like that. But dang, I mean, I think she's been feeling this for a while, and she's been trying to just like kind of like mend this over time by expressing what she wants and what she prefers, and because she went to I feel invisible over a pair of earrings, and they're engaged, right?
They're married. They're
Oh.
legally married, they just have to live.
Oh, okay.
And it seems like, I mean, she said like confronting the fear. So it seems like there's like other things going on, and maybe this is like a straw that
Yeah, she went
because the chances of him finding and buying the same exact pair, she only wears one pair of earrings. The chances are pretty astronomical.
And I want to say, like, it's possible when he was looking for earrings, because she likes ones like this, and close, he would go into this, like these, and maybe he was insecure or nervous to venture further out of the comfort zone and like have his taste kind of enter the equation, you know? Because I can understand being nervous that something, and so you're just like, I'm gonna stick to what I know. I can see that being potential.
I almost like I don't know, obviously, you know, if there's more to the relationship or whatever. But it's almost kind of endearing with the idea of a guy who's like just not observant, like not that observant or not really like a jewelry guy, like and then he goes and she asks him to buy her earrings and he goes and he's like, I actually really like these ones, these two. Like I actually really like and they're the ones that she wears every day for 2 years.
Yeah, it's very possible. Like, yeah, 'cause something like earrings is specific and like not particular taste. And like some people just don't really like that stuff at all. So I don't know. I feel like yeah, it's just like me.
In this case too, she's talking about she wears one pair of earrings. It's not like she has a style. It's not like she has a variety. She wears one pair of earrings every day, and then he bought that exact pair. And I, you know, and then he did get upset at her for getting upset at him. There's a lot going on here. Some comments. I don't buy men are like that and they don't notice things. Men notice plenty when they want to. They can recite the stats for their favorite teams or their favorite players, among other things. I would have been disappointed too. Someone else said, don't buy into the whole guys are just like that thing. My partner hinted at having a note on his phone of all the things I excitedly talk about maybe getting, and is actually excited about my upcoming birthday. I would also be upset, all such a letdown. Someone else said, that would have hurt my feelings a lot. I think you're justified in feeling upset. It's also concerning that he got upset with you for getting upset with him. You should be able to express your feelings without him turning it on you. I think you expressed yourself well in this post. Maybe you could write him a letter about how it made you feel. That gives you the opportunity to air out your feelings and hopefully it will feel less confrontation.
I can see that. Hearing those comments, I see where that comes from. I don't know if you guys have seen this on TikTok where there was this one boyfriend who had like a cheat sheet for his girlfriend. It was like her favorite color, her favorite, like her Taco Bell order, like all these specific things that he just wants to keep on hand. And it's like, first of all, of course, not but it is sweet. Like, you know, that's what this part is, you know, in competition with. That's what, you know, and so I get that.
Or like the smaller things, and it just it makes you feel nice. Even like you know the reverse. Like if my partner does something like that, or like I mentioned a little thing that I like, and she remembers that and surprises me with that, like, that's awesome. That feels so good.
Yeah, to feel seen, and she's saying she feels invisible. Yeah, and it's one of those where I wish I had more information is that I'm like, you feel invisible, and I don't believe it's just from this singular.
Right, exactly.
That's what's tough, is I'm like, you feel invisible in relationships. It's a very big deal. And it's, she said, yeah, this confirms my fears. It's like, what else is going on?
Yeah.
OP left a comment. They said, OP here, appreciate all the input. We've moved past it, and after acknowledging his good, he was able to exchange them for a different pair, and he then also got like another set of earrings as an apology. While this experience sucked in the moment, as when he pointed out, marriage and commitment is more than unintended feelings. Okay. And that's the end of that. I don't update or anything. So I don't know. I think he's really sorry it changes things.
Yeah, we got a lot of those happening. And getting her an extra pair. I mean, because here's the thing. I don't like to, I'm not really a fan of when people ask me what I want. I'm not really a fan of like, I want this exact thing. Please get it for me. Like, I would just get it for myself. At that point, I will get disrespectful. I get it for myself. So she went as far as to go, please, like, will you give me earrings for Valentine's Day? Like, asking, like, literally handing to him what she wanted.
it's like, this is not an inherent body, right? It shouldn't be, oh, we're bound to like it. It's like, no, that this is an individual by individual thing. It's been normalized, so we accept it, but don't commit that for yourself. All right, our next story comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to remove a tattoo related to my ex from my current partner? I read a story like this. There's a 24-year-old man, my girlfriend who's 29, and I have been together 2 years. I only have one tattoo. I got it when I was 19, and it was given to me by my ex-girlfriend. The tattoo, while it's not directly about or for my ex, she was the person to tattoo it on. It's a small, minimal tattoo. My ex and I never broke up. She died unexpectedly in an accident. I was 21. I haven't been in a serious relationship until this one, and am now, because I've taken time to overcome the loss and all the associated trauma. To me, my tattoo holds a lot of meaning. It extends beyond the relationship I have with my ex. I've tried to explain that to my girlfriend, but her thinking is black and white. If you're over her, just get it removed. Can't you do this for me? Don't you want to move on? It means you're stuck in the past. These are some of the arguments. Am I the asshole for wanting to keep my tattoo? That's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
For one, it's a minimal tattoo. I mean, regardless, it's his body.
This is so different than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but ultimately, this is one of those situations where if you're with someone, they have a tattoo or anything that they have with their body, and they go, this is my choice. I'm doing this. You kind of have to be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Or if you have such a problem with it, then don't be with them. Like,
And you don't just control alt delete a tattoo. It is a process. It's painful. It's expensive. It takes time. Not everybody's Pete Davidson and can afford that shit. You know, like
Going into the story, I was like, is this going to be like a heart with an name on it?
Yeah.
there's a lot that I would maybe there's a lot that I would maybe understand, and I think it being tied to trauma and grief changes it entirely, because it's not just about the ex. This is about a period of time in his life. This is probably about a huge moment for him. And you know, yeah, it was an ex, but it was also like that's just someone who meant something to him.
Yeah.
The layers to that relationship.
I think it's insensitive to be like, you're over her, right? It's like you mean grieving the loss of her? Like, I can mourn or appreciate this as much as I need. It's not informally
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed by this girlfriend because, like, she's older than him and it just feels like puppy, like it feels like she's in competition and is uncomfortable with something that is there because of someone who has passed away. It's not like his ex is out there attached with, like, there were so many other ways I thought that story was going to go. This is, like, literally his completely
And I don't like her. I don't think she should be presenting with tons of arguments. I don't like her. It's like, can't you do this for me? Don't you want to move on? It means you're stuck in the past. I mean, this is manipulation. It's just really, really insensitive and shitty.
all tattoos are stuck in the past. But literally, like, as someone, and it's, at first I was like, oh, it's not old tattoo, it's like, what's that even little thing? But, like, there's no reason for this to happen. Like, everybody has tattoos that they get from different eras, and, like, I'm someone who believes that even if I don't remember a tattoo anymore, or, like, the meaning of tattoos can change all the time, and it's like, it's just like trauma or stories in life, where it's like, it made us who we are, it's part of who we are, and we, like, get to keep on living, and this isn't holding me back, it's not defining me or keeping me in the place that I'm at.
Comments. The verdict, not the asshole. Comments, not the asshole. Demanding someone remove a tattoo in general is a pretty crazy demand. If it's not specifically a name or very obvious symbol of her, there should be no reason for someone to even request it be removed or covered. Your current girlfriend seems very insecure. If you responded saying, exactly, it's not directly anything to do with her, it's just that she gave it to me. Even when I had it done by her, it was a tattoo I was getting for myself. And while it did take on the added meaning of being something that exists in a world where she no longer does, and will always be connected in that way, it's not something we compete with. I wish I'd shared the deeper backstory about my tattoo with my current girlfriend earlier. I think I took too long in establishing this side of my relationship with her, having her earn my trust before letting myself become vulnerable to a point where I can share traumatic memories with her. All for her to say, remove your tattoo. Shaking my head. Maybe I maybe I'm an idiot and I don't know how to spot them, but I genuinely saw no red flags. This is our only real issue in our relationship, but unfortunately, it's a huge one.
This is a thing we see a lot in like relationships where someone's trying to set a boundary, but it's a boundary that's on the other person, like infringing on their existence, on their actions. Like you are being controlled, you're not setting a boundary, and like this is saying, do this for me, and the other person is manipulative. It's definitely going to continue. Like in other ways, this partner, their version of setting boundaries and having to protect them is control.
I also think that, I'm thankfully not very experienced with grief, but grief is a huge deal, and how people deal with grief is always very unique and different by the person. I mean, you need to be very, very respectful of how they have dealt with their grief and whatever they've done and whatever they're currently doing. And as he admits, he's like, it took me a long time to feel vulnerable to share this, of course. And the second he does, her response is, well, just get rid of that. It's like, damn, I'm frankly shocked he's still staying in this relationship. That's a huge thing.
Just zero empathy. It's like she's only looking at the tattoo as how it relates to her. Like it's just completely selfish. She's only seeing the tattoo as this is, a past love of his and what he's meaning rather than seeing the emotional aspect of it.
It kind of has a little bit of internalized misogyny, like you're competing. It's the idea that another woman exists in his life. It's like how men will freak out when you're like, oh, you're a virgin. Dude, like it's a weird like idea.
I get that, yeah. Someone else said she didn't even mind that tattoo until you told her your ex did it. Yeah, she's selfish in bad ways. Opie said, so you're correct. She did have some concerns even before I told her the story. She worried how my tattoo would be perceived specifically by her parents because tattoos historically have bad associations with religion. But it's not a big tattoo. It's very clean and not visible in her parents' clothes. She knew about me in the past. She knew everything. This tattoo is the least bad thing about her. But to her, it's the most intolerable. Someone else said, I reserve judgment on this. OP, do you talk about your former girlfriend a lot? Does your girlfriend feel like there's a ghost in the relationship? OP said, I didn't talk about her at all until recently, when I decided to open up and share the story about my tattoo. And that's when the remove your tattoo stuff came out. It's not a part of my past, but I easily bring it to visit, or talk to people about beyond what's necessary. And sometimes I wonder if I should just keep it to myself and not tell anyone involved. I thought my current girlfriend was someone I could trust, so I chose to be vulnerable. Maybe I should have laid it out earlier and made it clear to people. Update. Thank you everyone for answering the question. I talked to my girlfriend, and even though I've explained the past, and I tried to explain again one last time, thinking maybe if we could communicate our feelings more clearly, we would get past this misunderstanding. I explained my tattoo as personally meaningful to me in a way that has nothing to do with my ex. It doesn't mean I haven't moved on or that I'm stuck in the past. We talked for a long time, and I did not bring it up with her because of how this conversation went. I genuinely believe we were okay. A few days passed, and she drank too much while celebrating the work of stuff at holidays. She called me that night to come to her place. She was in a good mood that night. I fell asleep first. While I was asleep, she stubbed a cigarette on my tattoo. I broke up with her because I can't take her fixation with my tattoo. Alright, yeah. Okay.
It's just an A24 movie.
With all these Reddit stories we read, every time they're like, there's no issue besides this one thing. And then like something happens where it's like, I think there's issues besides this one thing. That is unbelievable.
That's demonic. I don't care if there's alcohol in the equation. That
No,
is a
yeah.
lot.
If when you drink that's your tendency, then okay. Wow.
That's evil. Sorry. That's
Yeah.
evil. And this flag is too small. I think there's a red flag.
That's actually not a red flag. That's you've made it to the
That's the red path.
you've now made it to the ship that you've got. That's it. You're no, but it's the unfortunate times when Reddit stories go past asshole conversation. moving on from that note comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for not giving my girlfriend my social security number so she can run a background check on me? All right, interesting title. Let's get into this one. I, a 27-year-old man, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, who's 31, for almost a year now. This evening, she sat me down and said she needs to have a serious conversation with me, and she asked for my social security number. I said, absolutely not. Why would you need that? And she told me about her ex-boyfriend who was basically living a double life. He had a bunch of criminal charges in his past that he never told her about, and eventually exposed her to some sketchy and dangerous behavior before she broke things off after he cheated. I said, okay, thank you for telling me that, but what does that have to do with my social security number? She said ever since then, she's had her friend that works for the federal government run background checks on people to make sure they're safe. And because our relationship is progressing, she needs to know I'm a safe partner for her. So she wants my social security number to check out criminal history. Now, for the record, I don't even have a parking ticket. I'm a nerd and a gym rat. All I do is work, go to school, play Dungeons and Dragons, come home, watch anime, rinse and repeat. So I don't care about a background check. She won't find anything, but I'm not giving out my social security number. I don't feel comfortable enough providing that to a friend. When I said that, she got upset and said I don't understand what women go through and it's about safety. And I admitted she's right. I have no idea what women go through. That doesn't mean I'm giving my social security number out to a complete stranger. She says he isn't a stranger. He's one of her best friends and married to a close friend of hers. And I said, honey, that's great. I don't know him. I don't trust him because I don't know him. That's my information. I said, well, you can trust him with your personal information if you want, but no one I don't know is giving my social security number or details. It's just not happening. And she said that our relationship isn't going to be able to progress unless I give her my social security number because she needs to know that she's safe. And she's offended that I don't trust her taste in friends. I got to connect to that point and told her I respect her concerns, but her past trauma doesn't give her the right to try and stronghold me into giving that sensitive information so I don't know just because he works for the federal government and has access to a database. I used to work for the federal government, so I can say from experience, everyone working there isn't some wonderful person. I'm not assuming he's a monster or anything, but just working for the feds doesn't prove anything to me. She called me insensitive and doesn't make any sense. Personally, I feel like she was gaslighting me into being more than what she is very much.
That's okay. And that's like such an interesting specific subject. But it's like that's the equivalent of I need to go to your phone in order to trust you. And like that's just not the foundation of real trust. And what if he was like, well, I had an ex-girlfriend who stole my social security. Okay. So like what is like then we're at a like standoff and it's so common for the ex to become the responsibility.
Yeah, he's paying the price for what her ex did.
Yeah.
It's so tough because it's obvious that she would do something traumatic and she's very scared of something like that happening again, but it's just like not a healthy way to approach it. And it seems like he's being like pretty reasonable and understanding and like trying to communicate like his feelings, but that's so tough. I mean, he's completely like in the right to be like, no, I don't think about my social security.
Yeah, he sounds like a green flag kind of guy. Like
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying, that this is not a environment for a healthy relationship. Like this amount of distrust, she's clearly gone through a lot. Like it must have been horrible what she went through. But like
it's not common.
this is not going to solve it. I also, the unfortunate reality is like, not all monsters have a criminal history. You know, he might have a completely clean record and is still capable of horrible things. Like, I mean, anyone who watches true crime documentaries knows, like, it's not always like, oh, the sidekick. It's like, no, sometimes like, oh, he was the most loved person in the community. You know, it's like, that's not going to solve this problem.
If you don't have like if you're not in a place where you can trust someone without them giving you your social
sorry for her. But what I think is the healthy thing that happens is people go through a lot in a relationship, and then in their next relationship, they're like, hey, I've learned where I draw my lines, and I will not tolerate like any sign of this thing. And I would say that's fair. That's great. It's like, hey, if you do anything sketchy, anything that makes me feel like in harm's way, this is great.
Yeah, or just being like, hey, like I went through a lot in my last relationship, so I'm getting a little bit harder for me to like open up and trust. Like it might take me a little bit longer to trust you. And I think like communicating that is healthy, like going in and being like, hey, we're approaching a certain point, so I need to just understand because
It's a lot of steps. Verdict is not the asshole. Comments, not the asshole. I just had a background check completed. I help him every 5 issues for the last 20 because I love scholarship. Some in state, some federal. I also have been screwed by the government for overhead several times. I have never had to provide a social security number. Sadly, I think your girlfriend may be the criminal and you may not be the someone else said her government friend is committing a felony. Not the asshole. What the fuck is this?
that's
I'm not too aware of federal crimes, but if a federal crime is not allowed to be doing that on the side. Someone said, not the asshole. You don't even know if she's telling you the truth. She could be stealing your social security number for all you know. Run away. Clearly, she isn't willing to address her trust issues. She needs therapy, assuming everyone is a criminal and you need proof otherwise is incredibly toxic. There is the element that she's actually the dangerous
I found out when I was like, social security number. You don't need that to run a background check on anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how that works, but I feel like you could just look up someone's name and see if they have a criminal record.
Yeah, literally, like you go to those like the white pages and you like search and pay like $30 or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of steps. Like she could talk to his friends, talk to his family. They've been dating for a year. Like I feel like at this stage she'd be like, hey, I want to like sit down and like speak with him.
Also, he was a government employee.
Yeah.
Would he not have been background checked for that?
Also, he could have been like, okay, if we're gonna do this, then I want yours too, and I'm gonna take yours to somebody that I know, so we can check each other and both listen. How about that?
Update. That's a big one.
Sorry.
After reading the comments I've been getting over the last few days, I decided to call her on New Year's Eve and give things one last chance because I'm the type of person that needs to know I did everything I could before I walked away from the relationship. And some people said she has valid concerns, she just wanted back on the right way, which made sense. I told her I understand and respect your need to ensure your safety. I'm not willing to potentially compromise my safety to make you feel safe by handing over the social security number to someone I don't know or don't trust. And it's illegal for him to even use a federal database for personal reasons. So that's it. But what I will do is pay for a background check of your choosing, so long as it's a legitimate service and give you the results. I will not be providing my social security number to anyone. My address, date of birth, etc. are up for game. She refused and said that she has chosen a background check and it's having her friend do it because she knows that she can trust him. So I said that if that's how you feel and you won't budge, then the issue here is trust. And I'm not willing to stay in a relationship with a woman that doesn't trust me because of some shit that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm not paying for another man's sins, and I'm not giving you my social security number because your ex was a criminal. She started crying and asking why I can't understand that it's not about me, it's about her. And I said, you made it about me when you asked for my social security number. She got pissed and started accusing me of lying about caring about her safety and saying I would. Then I'd have no problem doing this because I don't understand how vulnerable women are in society. So I said I was willing to work with you up to a reasonable point, but now you're just trying to manipulate me and don't feel safe being with you anymore. Because if this is how you react when you don't get your way about having my social security number, what happens the next time we have a major disagreement or a serious situation? Are you going to keep trying to try and get your way or throw out another ultimatum to try and force me to do what you want? She started saying that as a man, I can't understand what it's like to go through life as a woman and have to be afraid that this is what she has to do for her safety and security, and then you just respect that and give her what she needs for the comfort. I was like, I tried to compromise, you didn't accept that, there's nothing more to say here. And to be clear, I wasn't exactly calm. I have severe anxiety, so this was a really, really hard conversation for me to have. I was actively pacing around my house in she started asking about New Year's because we were supposed to spend it with her parents. I said you should have thought about that before you tried to storm her and get it away. This is the day, and everyone's doing it without her. That's just how things went. I grew up, and now we're older. Obviously, I'm hurt, but I'm realizing I'm dodging a bullet because there's no reason shit should be at this point. See, if anyone tries to jump me in the comments again, I offered to pay for the check, but she refused because it wasn't the test she wanted. I feel like I made a good faith effort to resolve things, and I hate to ruin the new year without a kiss under the mistletoe. But it is what it is. I don't know if she really is that concerned if I'm some lunatic criminal, or if she's trying to scam me like you blatantly said. Either way, it's over.
I mean, he did everything. He's like, look, I'm not going to mess with you, but I literally paid for the background check from like a verified organization that does these things. And unfortunately,
Yeah, no problem. We need crime flag. We need crime flag. I've watched documentaries. Obviously, that's taken with a grain of salt. But like, there are scammers who will use relationships, and they will play the long game, 6 months or longer, to get things like that. I'm not saying that this is what she was doing necessarily, but Opie, you are a catch, and trust your gut. Good job protecting yourself, and you literally went on to compromise.
Yeah.
You went, okay, I will do this for you, but in a way that's like kind of like Switzerland, like for both of us. That's huge. And she refused to compromise. Like that's breakup material.
Yeah, and it makes me think about how in relationships, oftentimes when people are cheating on someone, they are then very suspicious of that person cheating on them. Kind of makes me think like she's so certain that he's going to be a criminal and be scamming her, dangerous to her. It's like, this is protection. Are you scamming?
Are you correct?
Are you crying? By the way,
I don't even know if I've seen your social security number, so I don't need that. I don't know that shit. I don't know that shit.
either way, I think he made the right call. This was not going to work out.
this story aside, I think it's such a funny bit to be like, oh, big, these are practical resources.
So funny.
It's like, and I understand where he's coming from. Like, you don't understand what they're going for. Like, whoa, millions of families get identity stolen every year, kid.
It's so
Not funny, that was not a joke, kid.
yeah. So what are your guys' social security?
Shut up.
So like what?
I got a fun fact about my social security number. Go say it.
Hey, just give me your routing and account number. It's just like a safe. Rob me.
Like, I'll give you a hint. There's a 5.
What is it?
69.
It's 5.
69 420. I mean, that has to suck to get an absolute radical like social security number.
One time,
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna get so sad, dude.
one time when I was in my, I think I was just started my 20s, and I was in a situation where the person needed my social security number, and because I was so autopilot with online shopping, I started saying my credit card. I was like, oh no. Okay, I had the last 4 digits, and I actually said my last 4 credit card. I was like, oh, wait, no.
So
I was
funny.
like, hope I don't think I have 2 identities, because I said a different number.
The first time someone asked me for my social security number, I was like, wait, I don't know what shit that is.
I know.
It's like, hey, I actually have to know this.
I know.
That was awful.
I remember, I no joke, when I was like 18, when I started like, I remember being like, I remember this number, like, I should get a tattoo on it. How easy it would be to just like steal my identity. All right. Our final story. So imagine my surprise when I'm over at his house tonight and his computer is open and I just want to log into my Google Docs when I accidentally stumble across follower bot sites. He was logged in and chatting with me as one of the individuals I thought had become close with. I just got this sinking feeling. I didn't jump to the idea that they could be fake either. I was like, maybe he just has their login since they're all so close and is way too interested in their messages. But then I noticed their only chats were the group chats and the server, and the real kicker was the email address it was signed up under was his backup email with his full name. I quite literally snooped until he got out of the shower and caught me, which I'm not saying was right of me, but I couldn't help myself. During my snooping, I gradually became devastatingly confident that he wasn't behind just one, but both accounts. I've never seen his face so red, and he just absolutely panicked and started shouting at me to get out of his business. I couldn't even find the right words to say to him. In the end, I just walked out of his apartment sobbing. It's very early in the morning, I get that, but this screenshot is what he has to say, and I'm starting to feel crazy. Am I overreacting about the discovery? Here's a screenshot of the opening conversation. She says, I just want to know why. When it finally came time for the Hawaii trip, how were you going to explain that? What were you thinking? He says, you know something I've noticed about you? You can never just be calm, and there always has to be an issue. I know you were raised in a volatile environment and still have to relearn a lot about healthy relationships. It's like you thrive on chaos only. And we were going to see Wicked tonight. I guess they're that levels. She goes, you can't be serious. I deserve answers. I'm honestly so creeped out. Basically, half my life for the past 2 years has been a complete and total lie, and you're behind all of it. He goes, okay, don't be dramatic. You know this isn't a big deal. You're just getting to harp on this and make a bigger issue. You need to block him and never talk to him again.
This is insane. That's such a funny bit. Okay. Like one day it'd be like, that was me in a group chat. Like, that's so funny.
And he is a theater kid. Of course they're going to see Wicked. He had a whole reaction.
Can I say it's one of the a red flag that I used to ignore that is such a big red flag is whenever you communicate or even like an argument and your a partner or someone goes, oh well, we were going to do this. I guess our night's like we were going to do our night because you communicated. I'm like that to me is such a like do not.
No, this is
you're punishing someone.
There's a term. It's like reactive abuse. It's where someone does something horrible to you, and then because you reacted to it, they then punish you for doing it.
Right. It's funny we were going to see Wicked tonight. They're that girls. I'm like,
You had multiple fake identities corroborating you as a person with me for a year. Yeah.
You guys, you're really crazy. You don't understand healthy relationship dynamics.
You thrive on chaos.
me, myself, and I have great conversations, okay?
Even the three of us have talked about it, and we can feel
My friends don't like you.
Sorry. You're off the block.
What is it gonna do? You're gonna like Demetta tends to come back with a mustache and be like, oh, I keep missing you.
I bet even parts be like, oh, they canceled, they can't go. But like, truly, that is fraud. Huge, that's a fraud, like, in a very intimate way, where imagine getting in a relationship, and he was clear with her eyes when they first started. She's getting to know this guy based on who he is, and you know, when you're getting to know a guy or someone that you're dating, it's how do they act with friends, like, this is so great, I'm learning about them, friends say, think of him, like, that's all fake.
I think we're also missing a lot of information because she's just reacting. This means that these friends probably had individual conversations with her. This was always a means of manipulation for him to get information out of her, to know everything about her that he feels that she would have shared with him. I think unfortunately she's going to go back and find this is so much worse than she thought.
It's like, just like reading the story, it's easy to be like, oh my god, this is so funny and insane. Like, it definitely is like,
This to me is immediate block of what we're talking this guy. Comments, yeah, this is not okay. I'm blown away that this is actually real because what? How could someone do that to you, your partner of all people? And like, was he ever planning on telling you or just letting it ride out? That what does he gain from this? So many things running through my mind, but the most disgusting factor is how he responded to it. And it honestly sounds so manipulative, like he's deflecting instead of owning up to his actions. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Someone else said, I'm trying to think of all the problems. He gaslit and is actively gaslighting you. He catfished you. He generally manipulated you. And now he's going to spin. It's not a big deal. And if it doesn't work, he'll pivot to just a joke. Or I did it for you. I would love to have a therapist weigh in on the tendencies and what they could mean. The guy is unwell. Distance yourself and based on his access to bots, change passwords and everything. Go to accounts and check logged in devices. I'm not joking. I'm not backing. Someone else said, am I understanding this correctly? You, your boyfriend, and these other friends were all going to trick you into providing, like, what was the plan there? How could you possibly explain that again? Alright, update. Oh my god. Tiny little update. Just got this. He still hasn't explained himself essentially at all. I'm going to take the advice of the majority of the comment section and block on everything. Thank you so much for all of your kindness and support. I have not slept at all, as this is such a bizarre situation, so I appreciate you all. Screenshot of Oki and boyfriend's conversation. So he sent her a text at 6:21 a.m. saying, do you want to get... He sent a text saying, do you want to get our tickets off the AMC app or buy them at the theater?
So Wicked is still on the table.
This is are all of them gonna go? Or just, this is
You
extreme.
just have to remove yourself because in those situations, in order to protect yourself, you have to assume it goes deeper than
Yeah.
you think. And I mean, this guy scammed her to get a relationship. 100%. Like, let's break this down. They started as friends. And they were in this group chat. And based on all of this going well, the connection going so well, these friends are like, oh, you know, crush on you. All this stuff very likely happened. And so she thought she was entering this very real, organic relationship that was completely based off of a scam. I can't imagine how she must feel. And it's so violent.
No, it's scary. I'm glad she's blocking on everything. I hope she just gets as far away from it as possible. I do think she should change passwords. That's extreme behavior. Don't know what else that can move on to. That's, once again, past the red flag. Yeah, that's bad. We're there. Yeah,
That's scam.
we're at the destination. Wow, these were some wild ones.
That was the second time that they broke his relationship. Second true break. That's it.
Being crazy, I would go rubbish glue, and you just gotta watch out.
It's a crazy story. You know, it's a crazy one. Bring back the true break.
That's insane. The title of like, I just see finger puppets, and like this guy is, oh my god.
I think what makes me sad is how extreme these situations are. And yet, people still need to go on Reddit and get clarification about who it's like, what? Like, you needed to get a second opinion on that. Like, that makes me feel sorry for some of the people that I know there's some people out there who tolerate so much.
She probably thought she had friends she could go talk to. This person is like, it is like a venom, is like a feeling you can smell the manipulativeness on them. Where I'm sure she maybe had friends that he probably like, you know, isolation happens a lot in those types of people.
I think so many of these conversations, there's red flags, and I think the theme today was like trust. And I think if you're in a relationship and you don't trust your partner, that's a huge problem. That's like the number one problem, right? Because you cannot move forward when you don't trust your partner. Whether they've done something or not. Because the lady with the social security number, it's like, hey, that can't function in a relationship with this. But it's also why lying to me is like the biggest deal. If your partner lies to you and you that lie, it's like, can you move on from that? Because without trust, it's just so hard. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are green flags.
You guys are really green flags. Like really. Flags.
Thank
Can I say something actually really sappy for a second? Can I
Sure,
get
man.
sappy on Reddit stories?
Whoa.
No, God, now how many of these have we done together? No, I was thinking about this when I was looking at the call sheet for today, and that, I was gonna be on Reddit stories with you guys. And I feel like ever since I was just like a little guppy working as a little associate producer on Mythical Kitchen, like both of you have always just been so nice to me and so encouraging of me. And like, I remember the first time you guys invited me on a stream that was like the earliest version of the show. You were reading Reddit stories on, and it was just like, it was so big. That was just so much and so sweet. So yeah, you guys have just been so encouraging and nice to me in this whole journey with me. Becoming a
You're so nice. You're so nice. Hey, you want to give me your social security number?
Yeah, give us that social security.
That's really sweet. You're really
You said.
Just start walking you.
I don't know how to tie them.
All right, well, thank you for watching, and a reminder that last week we did our live show, and you can still watch the VOD. It's still available until March 23rd. You can get tickets at live.smosh.com and go check it out. It was a blast, I'm certain. We haven't done it yet, so I hope it was good. But thank you for watching. We'll see you next Saturday. Goodbye.
Bye, pancakes.
Let's get into our first story. This comes from Am I the Asshole? And this was posted recently. Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor I dated her husband?
Wait, say it.
Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor I dated her husband? Okay, letting someone know, like, hey, your husband, you dated. I, a 33-year-old woman, became friendly with my neighbor, a 37-year-old woman. Let's call her Emily. After I helped her move a few boxes into our building while her husband, the 35-year-old man, was in the hospital. I didn't meet Emily's husband until a few weeks later when she invited me over to dinner as thanks. When I first arrived, Emily's husband had run out to pick up some wine. But when he came back, I was shocked to see Matt, a guy I had gone on 3 dates with a year ago, before he suddenly ghosted me. He had a terrible poker face and tried to pretend like he didn't recognize me. I don't play those games. I asked how long they had been married, and Emily said, 3 years. She recognized there was tension and asked if we knew each other. He said no. I said yes, and told Emily that I had gone on dates with him a year ago. She became very upset and asked me to leave, which I did. The next day, Emily reached out and said that she didn't appreciate that I lied about when I dated her husband. He told her we had dated 4 years ago, before they were married. I didn't even live in this city 4 years ago. And even if we had dated 4 years ago, they had been engaged at that point. Either way, he would have been cheating. I sent her screenshots of our text from the year before and from Bumble of his profile, which was still active. She never responded, but when I saw her in the lobby yesterday, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. I don't know if they're still together, and Emily hasn't responded to my texts. So am I the asshole for telling her the truth? Wow, what a situation to find yourself in.
I'm gonna pick it up from bed. Because
Yeah. The audacity. Yeah. She's not the asshole. I don't think she's the asshole. Obviously.
I know, I think this is stuff.
You're trying so hard.
Well, I think it's tough. I think this is really tough.
What do you think's tough?
So what do you think? I think we've been thinking about this for a bit.
Yeah, I think this is not an open and shut case here. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
We don't know what's going on.
I'd say, yeah.
It's tough to say, yeah.
Gotta cut it.
Okay, we have to drop it. We do a little prank on you.
I was like, really?
It was really cool to sit there for a second and be like, what if we gave you nothing?
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, so cool discussion show we have here, guys.
A little bit behind the curtain. Spencer and Trevor thought of this break before.
Were you guys talking about this shit before?
Spencer and Trevor were like, what if we got talk differently?
We just did something similar. That's crazy.
Okay, honestly, jokes aside, plot twist for you right there.
Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
Because, like, what if you had a story and no one had anything to say? Anyway, but we did. So, what sucks about this is that she's taking it out, the wife is taking it out on the beach, and it's just like a classic where the other person in the scenario is the asshole. It seems like he cheated, but she's like, more people tell him, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I also think it's, I don't know if it's quite there or if it's because she's saying you lied. I can't believe you lied about when you guys dated because my husband's now saying you dated 4 years ago. The husband had already said, no, I don't know this person. And then said, no, we dated 4 years ago. So she knows.
Yeah.
But like, I think we all know we've been in situations similar where you're just like, I do not want to allow my brain to process what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like, you then have to face that, and that's awful.
But don't take it out on the person who went out on it.
No, but now she's doing a horrible thing, and it's like, hey, exactly.
Yeah.
The classics.
The classic.
The classic deny, project.
Yeah.
Denial with a side of projection.
I'm gonna be thinking about that.
I really.
But no, she's not the asshole. In fact, I mean, like, this is a bold person for not being afraid to just be open and upfront about it.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes hiding behind someone else's lie is easier. I think I've fallen for that sometimes where two friends, I see someone kind of not telling the full truth, and you're like, it's going to be messy if I step in there and I actually go, I'm the soldier here, and I will tell you this person is lying. But it is the right thing. I don't know, it's the right thing. I don't know, it depends. Depends on each scenario, right? But this person was doing the right thing by telling the truth. And kind of looking out for
When
this
you're
other
aware,
person.
like, hey, he's cheating on me.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like, and very blatant. Like, has an active on the lookout. Has all this stuff.
Active at a time of
Active as opposed to.
then this is that OP is getting drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
Because I would say that, she doesn't know this is a relationship. They could be in an open relationship, but if that's the case, if she brings this up, it should not be horrible for them to hear. Right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong, but like, so either way, bringing it up is fine. And justified. It's like, hey, this guy's a cheater. He's pretending he doesn't know.
Yeah, it's not like she has an agenda to get with this. No, she's just being like, hey, I'm reporting.
We went on 3 dates and ghosted me. She has no interest in it.
Yeah.
The wife is mad that
Yeah. I think it's been open too, because like, yeah, he didn't really, it's not like she was friends with these people. It's like she had, there was lots of emergency angles there. It would have been very easy for her to just like, not my problem, not my issue, like, walk it alone.
I would say I can see a lot of people in this situation where like, she has been honest, like, I was going to pretend to do this. And that's what the husband probably was thinking was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I think good on her for not letting him get away with it.
Yeah.
Comments. You told her the info she did need to hear. Now just let the pieces fall where they will. Do not engage further. Not the asshole. You're being honest. But it's best to leave her alone. Someone else said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. She has all the info she needs to make a decision. That's all you can do. OOP commented saying, update. Emily just stopped by. We had a quick chat. She let me know that she's kicked Matt out, and she thanked me for telling the truth. She also found out that I was not the only person he dated while they were married. Giving her space now, but wanted to share an update since it happened so quickly after posting. Okay, and shocker, plot twist, he was dating other people too. Can you believe that? Can you believe that, dude? I can't believe that.
I don't even think
I would think so.
Update.
Okay.
For real.
Do I get to, is this where you get to
Alright.
guess?
What do we think the plot twist is?
And then if you,
So we know
if
there's
you
a-
guess it, you get a yacht.
Yeah, you guess you get a Yahtzee, and we get to scare everyone in the office. Okay, we know there's a plot twist coming. So what we think is happening is probably not happening.
The obvious plot twist is like, you know,
I think obvious plot twist, they get into a relationship with each other.
Whoa!
Yeah. Well, that's like me. That's what I want. Really, really happy ending.
the plot twist they went through. Because that woman
is that OP gets in a relationship with the guy after they break up.
Yo. Okay, because my gears are turning, I wouldn't normally make these types of assumptions, right? But this is plot twist, so I'm thinking like, what's the crazy possible plot twist? Trying to get a Yahtzee. What if this is fictional bonkers? If OP moved here on purpose to split them up, this was all the plan all along?
No, he's a dead.
Yes, and also that.
And stole something from a museum.
Yeah, man, what do you think about that?
Okay, let's see.
All right, one-way ticket to fictional bonkers sound.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, here we go. A happy final update. Over the last few days, I've been hanging out with Emily along with her sister and 2 BFFs who flew in to support her. Tuesday night, she texted me, "Space is overrated. Why?" And that was that. Matt confessed to everything and more, and it was all a lot worse than anyone thought. But this isn't about him anymore. We've all had some really good, sometimes difficult conversations, but it's all been very cathartic and surprisingly positive. I found myself in the company of some pretty amazing women, which is why this situation has turned out the way it has. I moved to the city 2 years ago without knowing anyone, and it certainly wasn't an easy thing to tell someone that I'd hoped would be a friend. To be honest, it kind of felt like word vomit in the moment. And when I first posted this, I admittedly wanted validation because there was a large and loudly nagging part of me that thought I'd done the wrong thing. So I'm very grateful to have come through what began as a really awful situation with 4 awesome new friends and far more laughs than tears. Emily, her sister, and I now are planning bi-weekly brunch dates, and we also discovered that we have some other friends and interests in common. This post got far more attention than I ever anticipated, so I did end up telling Emily about it. Her sister joked that we should start a podcast together, and we both shouted, "No!" So this is both the end and a new beginning of this story. Thank you all for the support and kind words for both me and Emily. We're going to be just fine. Signing off. Okay, so the plot twist is that they became friends.
Yeah.
All right. Which is the best case scenario.
Truly.
I'm very glad I'm wrong.
Me too. I'm glad we actually.
Yeah, we were all assuming a lot of really wild things.
Yeah.
I'm not counting out my first theory, though.
It's still, there's room for it to grow. Absolutely.
Maybe fall in love. I'm in love now. They all need. The brunch berries?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Bi-weekly brunch sounds like an easy commitment.
Bi-weekly brunch that is the ultimate best scenario ever.
Yeah.
If someone threw out bi-weekly brunch, you'd be like, you're thinking too positive. Yeah, it's too optimistic.
You weekly brunch, you mean?
Bi-weekly.
Yeah.
They
Which
have
means
bi-weekly brunch, which I think is better than weekly brunch.
It's a
Weekly brunch is too much of a
That's what I was gonna say.
commitment.
I think that's
Bi-weekly is
the
better.
best. Honestly, I'm walking away from this story thinking a bi-weekly commitment in friends is the way to fucking go.
Yeah.
Because a weekly commitment, even like D&D every week, who are you kidding? I don't know.
Yeah.
Bi-weekly anything, it's just like, that's
We
what I'm
really
saying.
need to start promoting bi-weekly stuff. That's the
truly.
jam.
Yeah.
You know? If anybody takes anything from this podcast, it's that.
It's just like, think about your problem right now while you're driving in the car listening to this Reddit story. And what if you made it bi-weekly? Instead of every week.
Hey, you know what? That's going to stick.
Yeah.
That's going to stick.
And I'm so glad they said no to a podcast. That means they're good people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People who
I
start
hate
podcasts.
podcasts. I hate them.
Podcasts about people hosting.
Yeah. It's true. You've been saying that.
I've been saying that in my mirror. So that was a happy plot twist. We're just getting our toes a little dipped in. Don't worry, it's gonna get worse.
Yay!
It always does.
It always does here. Today's Red Stories is brought to you by Zocdoc. Have you ever woken up with a weird symptom like a tight pain in the neck? Immediately gone to Google or TikTok to see what's wrong and you get like a bunch of different answers back, but we've all gone down that rabbit hole. But it's time to get the help and care you really need with Zocdoc. Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and are highly rated by verified patients. And once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings. Choose a time slot that works for you and click to instantly book a visit. I had been delaying going to the doctor for a long time, and ZocDoc was all I needed to finally book an appointment. They made it too easy for me to ignore. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/pitreddit to find and instantly book a talking doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/pitreddit. ZocDoc.com/pitreddit. Back to the show. Okay, our next story comes from relationships. This was posted in 2014. 20 years ago.
I was 14 years old when this was happening.
That's 2 months.
Okay.
Does that make you 25 right now? That's fine.
My fault. It suck the air out of It's the quietest it's ever been.
Honestly, we were all just doing math.
You're not thinking really hard. Okay. This is a 22-year-old woman. Me with my boyfriend, who's 24, of 3 years. He found out that his ex is engaged and literally won't stop crying. Oh.
God. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's not a good look.
I, 22-year-old woman, met my boyfriend, who's 24, 3 years ago, through some mutual friends. He was pretty gone, and I was the one that pursued him. We were long distance. I was living in Oregon, he was living in Washington, until I moved in with him last year. My boyfriend has only had one other relationship and a hookup before me. He stopped talking to the hookup a long time ago because she was crazy, but he kept in touch with his ex until she cut contact with him around 2 years ago. They dated when he was 15, and it lasted for around 2 years, and then she dumped him because he had no self-respect. Apparently, she's the reason why my boyfriend is so guarded. I'll admit that I was really jealous of her and was glad when she cut contact with him because she's beautiful and my boyfriend talked about her as if she had all of life's answers. This past January, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard my boyfriend crying quietly. I could tell that he was looking at his phone and I wasn't sure whether or not to say anything since I wasn't sure if he just wanted a private moment. After a while, he got up to go to the bathroom, so I took a peek at his phone. He was on Facebook looking at his ex's profile. She had gotten engaged and there were pictures of the ring and everything. It's been 2 months now and my boyfriend has been breaking down out of nowhere. I keep asking him to talk to me about it, but he won't. I told him to talk to a therapist and he got really insulted and said that he doesn't believe in therapy.
Sick.
I'm not sure what to do since this happens at least twice a week. I love him, but he's always seemed a bit distant to me, and obviously this woman is the reason why. Should I contact her and ask her if she has any insight? I'm starting to think that she must have said something to upset him like this, because he didn't seem that bothered when his ex was dating other people. Oh man.
It's like turbo loser behavior.
Turbo loser.
Sorry, dude. So he's 25.
He's
They
25.
broke up when he was 17.
He's 24. I think she wrote 2 different ages. No, he's 24. So 7 years ago they broke up.
Ew.
And she got engaged and he's crying multiple times a week.
For 2 months.
For 2 months. And when she says you should talk to a therapist, he says, I don't believe in therapy. Now, you can pick one of those reasons to break up, but she's...
It's either she's like,
I guess I don't know. My head's going a million places as I'm piecing this together. You know, your emotions you can't control, but like there's a lot you can. But also, if you're feeling that much emotion over this, and your partner's feeling that much emotion over it, it's like, hey, this is very serious.
yeah. I mean, it goes back to like, you can't like regulate someone's emotional response to something and be like, you need to calm down or something, especially if it's.
Sure.
But it also is like, there is a little bit of like, is this a trigger? Is this bigger than what this is? Like, this is bigger. Like, is the ghost in the room with this man? You know what I mean? Like, this is tapping into something that's a bigger problem under the hood.
And there's other hints she's thrown out here, like, yeah, she's beautiful, and he's always talked about her as if she had all of life.
All the answers.
Yeah, this is a lot of red flags here.
Yeah.
I think they've been together around 3 years. He cut off contact with his ex around 2 years ago. She cut off contact with him.
So
Saying he had no self-respect.
He's in regular contact with his ex for a year while they were dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a whole lot. Comments, no, don't contact her. Her job is finished. If her ex still has problems with their relationship, that's his issue. Now you, Missy, do not play Miss Fix-It here. You can't fix the fact that your boyfriend is actually still in love with another woman. You can be the most perfect woman on earth,
Yeah.
but while he still has her as his dream woman, you don't have a shit show. Honestly, and as hard as this may be, I'd talk to him about it again. And then, if there is no resolution, I'd consider moving on. You deserve someone who thinks you are the best woman on earth, not some distant ex from his high school years. OP left a long response saying, "Thank you for your reply. I was insecure about my boyfriend's relationship with his ex from the start. They didn't talk that often, but they'd catch up once every few months through Skype or something. She lives on the East Coast, and when Hurricane Sandy hit, he called her, texted her, and messaged her on Skype despite her having cut off contact with him prior to that. I don't even know that he still had her phone number. Is this relationship hopeless? I knew that he still had a bit of a thing for her, but I didn't know the extent of it until now. If he can't move on after all this time, I don't understand why he got into a relationship with me."
Yeah, no, this seems like a pretty clear-cut case of him having a relationship that was formed years of that ending, him wanting it back and not being over it, and then it being something else because he doesn't feel that way.
This doesn't also necessarily mean he's still in love with her. It could just be that he did not process losing her, especially honestly, I'm glad we go back to that age thing because there is something about your first when you're 17, your first love, and it's sticking. I don't know. I've had people I've dated get engaged, but I did see the guy I hit my first ever boyfriend get engaged, and I remember just being like, why did that bring me back to when I was young? Because it brings you back to that age, and then you're like, no, I'm in my 30s, I'm an adult. I don't know this person anymore.
Yeah.
But it brings you back to early college or something, or high school, when you romanticize that stuff.
That's why it's not I'm not knocking the guy for the emotions he's feeling.
No, you're not.
But it's but he's also refusing to talk to her. And that's the bigger
We're
problem.
knocking the dissociation of it, the denial, the not being honest with himself and his partner.
Because if he's not communicating to her, she has to then deal with the mystery of where it's coming from. Because it might be coming from somewhere like that, where it's like, oh no, it's more of a personal identity thing, or it's not reckoning with my past, as opposed to I'm not over my ex. Now all signs right now are pointing to he's not over his ex. To me, at least.
No, it is. I was just saying that the fact that it's coming out at random times.
Yeah, it's interesting.
This could be so many things, and what sucks is he's not at the wheel. He's not really feeling it.
Yeah.
Right. Also, OP did mention that she pursued him. He did not pursue her. She pursued him. So maybe he wasn't feeling as ready. Other comments. Not to knock high school relationships, but this guy was 15 and they only dated for 2 years. It's been, 6 years since they broke up? I think your boyfriend just doesn't have that much experience to realize that relationship wasn't as profound and meaningful as he believes it to be. Apparently, he's been putting her on his pedestal this entire time, which is not healthy. Maybe he should see someone about this because it can definitely put a hold on his life. I went through this same thing. It took me a stupid amount of time to really get over my high school girlfriend. And looking back now, I can't figure out why I had created this perfect love story in my head when it was nothing of the sort. That's really interesting. I didn't have to deal with that because I didn't date anyone until I was in my 20s. So, you know what? Why don't you start being a huge fucking loser as a teenager?
Yeah.
Try being obsessed with Shakespeare and going to church. It worked for me.
Hey, why don't you play Final Fantasy, okay?
Yeah, dude, I had so many girlfriends, so I really relate to you guys.
And that's okay.
That was really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to be young and busy.
Yeah.
I'm down to know what happened.
So this comment said, to have talks to him, he said he does not believe in therapy. Last comment, I would end it. I realize that you've been dating for 3 years, but this kind of reaction is off the scale. It's pathetic, and it's completely disrespectful to you. I can't see how you can move past it. Had she died, then of course one could understand this, but if he's this broken-hearted over some girl who dated in his teens, they broke up 7 years ago for fuck's sake, then you should not be in a relationship with him. I guess it's six years ago, but he was talking to his ex until 2 years ago when she cut off contact. So he clearly maintained a relationship of some sort and was not allowing that space to happen.
Yeah, this is full of language.
Yeah.
Update. we think the plot twist is. Because we got a plot twist. So right now it's just like, oh, he's not over his ex. That's the obvious answer. Was he dating his ex off and on? Like, what was that? But she's now married, so I don't.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
That's what my brain is like, okay, if this is a plot, we're talking like crazy plot twist. What's the craziest thing that can happen?
I'm worried that he's obsessed with his ex and she's gonna find a bunch of evidence that he's like not over emotionally, but he's also like maybe just really like putting a lot of work into tax on her and trying to contact her. Like she's already like, I didn't know if he still had a number. Like he tried to contact her much after she'd already cut him off, which is a huge red flag.
Or maybe he's stalked her.
That's, I mean, truly already, she's like, I'm cutting you out of my life, and he's still trying to contact her.
And you're on Facebook in the middle of the night, first of all. Oh, 2014. So I was like, first of all,
Yeah. But this is someone who cut you out of your life, and he is really searching her up. I don't know. I don't know what he's about.
Yeah, my crazy prediction for the craziest plot twist, she's engaged, he finds out she's engaged, he goes to the wedding to try and break her up. That's the crazy plot twist, I think.
Okay.
or plot twist, they are.
She ends up with,
And he was crying because it's real. And it sucks, and he was an asshole along the way. But he's in love with that girl, and that girl is in love with him. That would suck.
Dude, that would suck.
okay. The update.
Yeah.
First sentence. It's over, I think.
Okay, good.
I called my dad and asked him to help me move back home. These last 2 days have been really emotional. My boyfriend was gone all day yesterday. He was gone when I woke up, that's fine. I assumed he went to work early, but he still wasn't home when I went to bed. I texted him once when I woke up to say good morning and twice at night. One asking if he was coming home for dinner and another asking if he was alright. I also tried calling his cell and he didn't pick up. I thought that I deserved some answers, so I decided to snoop. Something that I'd done once before when I was feeling insecure about his relationship with his ex. Well, on his laptop, hidden in a bunch of subfolders, was an MS document with his ex's name.
The S document?
Microsoft document. I read it, and I'm assuming that he just saved the last conversation that he had with her, right before she cut contact with him. It started out normal, but then he asked how her relationship with her now fiancé boyfriend was going. She said that it was good, and that she was happy. And then it got weird, because he said something like, "Really? Are you sure?" She said yes, and said that was a weird question. And he said, "I don't know, I don't believe that you're that happy." I don't remember everything exactly because my head was spinning, but he basically told her that her fiancé, then boyfriend, will never treat her as well as he did, and that they've known each other X number of years and managed to stay friends after their breakup, that they've helped each other grow as people, and that she should really give him another chance. He said that he's waited for her all these years and that he loves her and always believed they'd wind up together. This was all while he was with her. She called him an asshole and told him that he had a lot of balls to say that to her when she told him a long time ago that they're only ever going to be friends, and that he's an even bigger asshole for doing this while they were both in relationships. She told him to go to hell and to break up with me for my sake, because I deserve better. That's not even the worst part. My boyfriend woke me up this morning by calling my cell and telling me to come to the kitchen. He said that he made breakfast, so I went to the kitchen getting ready for a fight. He and I never fight, but I was so goddamn hurt. And he made what honestly looked like an amazing breakfast with a ring box in the middle of the table.
Get your pancake through.
Get your pancakes out. He told me to open it. I did. He said something like, "These last 3 years with me has been an adventure." He hopes to keep making new adventures with me. I guess around this time I snapped out of whatever haze I'd been in and I exploded. I demanded to know where he was all day yesterday, why he wouldn't contact me, why he's been crying over his ex for the last 3 months, everything. He got mad at me for being mad. He told me that I should be happy because he was proposing, and wasn't that what I wanted? I asked him why, when it's so obvious that he'd rather be with his ex. He told me that she's obviously moved on, so it's time for him to move on too. That's how everyone wants to be proposed to.
Yeah. Look, dude, I swear, yesterday I finally got over my ex, and
Let's get married,
it's time
man.
we get married.
I've never been so angry in my life. I've been so incredibly patient with this man and done my best to be understanding of his situation. I've literally given him all that I had, but I'm not going to get married to him just to be his consolation prize. It's so ironic because had he proposed 4+ months earlier, I would have been ecstatic. Now I just broke our relationship. So yeah, I called my dad crying, and he's on his way to help me move back in with him and my mom. That's it. I'm a wreck. But I think it's just because everything wrong and twisted in this relationship is hitting me, and it took so long for me to understand. And my ex is just sitting on the couch with his laptop. Thank you guys so much for helping me see how unfair this whole relationship was. I read every one of your comments, even if I didn't get a chance to respond.
Honestly, thank God it did end with her getting out of that relationship.
Yeah.
Like, that is so hot.
There's like a wire that's connected to a different wire for this guy or something. Because it's like, oh no, I got caught. Go double down and buy a ring. Like it's like,
Yeah. And while I agree that I think therapy doesn't work, no, I'm kidding. No, this guy, like, he needs bi-weekly, semi-weekly. He needs the twice-a-week therapy.
Yeah.
this is wild to like just double down and go the other way. And I bet he was so like affected by seeing her truly move on. Also, it bugs me when like even in these stories you hear someone finally understand a woman's moved on and there's a ring on her finger. That doesn't mean she doesn't belong to you anymore.
No,
You know what I
she's-
mean?
yeah.
Like,
She was clearly moved on when she cut her out of her life.
Yeah.
oh, now she's really off the table. Because her daughter is now spoiled. Something made him go, oh, now she's really not available to me, so let me lock down this one.
He has no respect for her because, I mean, he's talking to this ex, being like, no, I'm right for you. And she's being like, no, I'm telling you flat out this. And he's going,
Okay, here's my question.
but then he's also disrespecting his
Yes.
friend partner so damn much. And I mean, this is like often the most infuriating part of like cheating is the cheating itself, but it's the insult to your intelligence. And it's like he comes back with a ring and he's just like, yeah, it's gonna be all right. He truly believed that was gonna
She
work.
would, yeah. Okay, here's my question. You're the girl who's engaged, booked and blessed, okay?
Yeah.
And you're seeing him text you this stuff, or DM you this stuff, or Facebook message you this stuff, and you see he's clearly, like, social media, like, connected to this, he's still dating someone. Do you slide into her DMs and tell her?
I think I do, especially after reading all of these, I do think if you have the opportunity to tell someone that they're going to cheat,
I think I
it's hard. And look, there's so many stories where like it blows back at you. Like the previous one we just read.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard to just, especially having, I've been cheated on, and it's like, it sucks. It's just like, but like, if you have definitive proof,
Yeah.
it's just like, dude, like, give it to them because they might get mad at you, they might deny it, but like, they're internally they're gonna know
Yeah.
and could save them a lot of years. And she was gonna get married to him. Like, man, like, I'll get you out of this hole before you dig it further.
100%.
I think the ex was probably honestly a little like worried about this guy. Like she cut him out of her life because I think she was probably starting to get like, man, you are not this guy. I would not feel safe.
A little bit of social illness, where he's like, like, these 7 years they've been together or something. She's like, well, I'm engaged to someone else, and this should not be good. We've been together for 7 years.
And he's like, the way he said it, he's like, I believe, like, I truly believe that we would end up together. It's like, if that was your belief, then why are you in another relationship? Like,
Yes.
what is the purpose? Like, if you really have that belief in your heart, you're just doing it for fun. Like, it's obvious it is.
I know this happens to someone. I can't imagine the mindset that he knows deep down that he's not over his ex. someone where you're not like, this is dirt, or
Yeah.
whatever. He is so clearly communicating to OP that he's settling. Like, I mean, it's blatant. These are the moves of an untherapized person, right? Like,
Yeah.
it is. There is no emotional intelligence to any decision.
Yeah. This is me jumping, but I almost think if he did go back, if that girl, his old love or whatever, did like give him space, I almost think he's idealizing her so much that he won't even. He doesn't even like women are just like kind of placeholders, and there's like a bigger issue,
Oh,
and that it
yeah.
wouldn't even like he'd be let down. He'd be like, oh my god, you're not everything I built you up to.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like he just disappeared for a day to go like on a walk around the park and like consider his options and be like, God, it really doesn't seem like she's engaged. Like maybe I should go get a ring and lock this down before she realizes. Like I feel like they're hiding for them some self-reflection. Like I've been crying over her. I need to push right now because she'll say yes. I'll have this thing.
He's so good at no respect, like at all. She realized that. That's so infuriating. But like, I'm so glad she has self-respect for herself.
Yeah.
Our producers thread an interesting of like, what if he's trying to get engaged to his ex, jealous, to be like, oh, I'm over you.
Oh god, that is so
Check it out.
true.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know, but it makes a lot of sense.
That's
Oh, I actually think that might be it. That's sad.
Unfortunately,
It's probably the first time we ever made her breakfast.
it probably is.
Probably to Google how to make an egg.
Okay, our next story comes from Am I Overreacting? Yeah. Am I overreacting? I went on a date and saw my wife calling on his car Bluetooth. I, a 28-year-old woman, went on a date with a guy who's 30. We met up, ate breakfast, and hit the road because it's a long drive. Everything was going well. We were listening to music and just vibing, and then he got a phone call. He was driving, so his phone was connected to Bluetooth, and I could see who was calling. The caller ID said, my wife, and my stomach dropped. We had been dating and talking for 7 months, and nothing he did gave any signs of him being married. He didn't pick up and let it go to voicemail. My mood instantly shifts, and he asks what's wrong. I told him I saw who called, and that he needed to call him back immediately. He was going on about how it was his brother, and I called BS because I saw clear as day that it said my wife. He goes on his phone and shows me his recent calls, and it says Big Bro at the time the call came through. The thing is that when the call came through initially and he let it go to voicemail, I was staring at it in disbelief, and then I looked away because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's possible that he changed the contact name really quickly. I told him again to call the number, and he doesn't show me, but he does call someone, and I can hear a male voice on the line. He hangs up and insists he doesn't have a wife, and he doesn't know how that happened, etc. We get to our destination, and I try to put it past me, but I can't let it go. If he had refused to show me his phone at all, I would have Ubered home. We end up leaving earlier than planned, and he keeps trying to explain himself, but I can't forget the image of my wife. I told him I needed some space to think about what happened. Am I overreacting, or is this a messed up kink? Oh, man. Whoa.
This is so.
Oh, man. I would be messed up. I would be so messed up if I saw that. So, take what? I saw. I'd be like, I'm losing.
Yeah.
Now, my brain immediately goes to he switched the contact.
I think the simple solution is to like if the big brother is at the top of the call, click that and you call it back.
Can I see the text?
And he said, I think they explained he calls me, she didn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I think if I'm in that position and he's proving himself to me, then I'm going to be as lawyered up as I want to be. Show it all to me. Let's end this right now.
Yeah.
Like, don't just show me one thing. Let's go through it all.
Let's set the phones down.
Let's just do it, and then we'll be done.
Yeah, they've been dating for 7 months.
And it is because like if he doesn't have anything to hide, it truly is like a joke or whatever. Like if it is some weird bug and like the car Bluetooth, it's very simple. He's like, oh, I'll call it, and it's his brother. But
Yeah.
he didn't do that, so then it's like, yeah, why didn't
He is truly like trying to completely like alter reality here. Comments, why and how would it be a prank? Have you been to his house, out with his friends? Some people do put sarcastic nicknames for certain people in their contacts, but switching up the contact name would have most likely taken some effort that you would have noticed if you were still sitting next to him. You were right to take some time to yourself. Trust your gut. Someone else said, I will add to this. As a married man, I have never saved my wife's contact as my wife.
Yeah.
My married friends don't either. It's either her name or a pet name.
Or what?
Or wife. Yeah, my wife.
Like,
My wife see it feels like more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not possible, just very odd. Lastly, someone said, could it be that he had a missed call from Big Bro just before he picked you up, and he erased that call from the log?
yeah, I think that too.
He
Then, like, he
erased
didn't change the contact. The call goes to voicemail. He opens recent calls, deletes that call.
Yeah.
And then
That's what I consider to do.
and then calls his butt and goes, here's my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I got a few suspicious contacts in my phone that are just my friends.
Sure.
Like, it's just my buddy Nick, you know?
Yeah.
But,
Everyone in my phone is first name, their name, second name, how I meet. So you're Shane Smosh, you're Trevor Smosh.
dude, that's awesome.
Dude, you're Angela Smosh.
I am.
I do that. Because there's a lot of people here, and I'm like, I need to clarify that this is the person who
Okay,
is.
yeah, I'm
It doesn't
cheating
have
on-
that we have a lot of people with the same names even
No,
here.
for sure. Like if I'm cheating on someone, I'm gonna go real life, secret girlfriend.
Right,
Like, I'm gonna
yeah.
like I'm gonna be specific.
Exactly.
Like my wife devil eyes, or like my wife 2, my wife 3.
No, it's not great when I'm driving my plug and he sees better plug on my thing. I'm like, hey, look, don't worry about it. Just kidding.
It's a wife's
Anyway.
boyfriend.
Imagine if she saw that wife's boyfriend. My wife's boyfriend. She's like, hold on, several layers.
Is the deal still on?
No, it's my wife's boyfriend. He's my plug. Don't worry about it. Okay. Update. So the most simple plot twist is that he manipulated his phone, is gaslighting her. There could be other possibilities. Maybe they did go into a new reality. Maybe when they were driving, when we got the call from my wife, they were in another dimension, and they traveled in their long distance traveling. They drove through some sort of wormhole, and they went to a new dimension where that's just as big brother was watching.
Yes, or she was overreacting so much
Yeah.
that it
Okay.
I think maybe just everyone. Maybe this is her fault, and everything in the world is her fault.
Yeah.
And that seems like what a lot of commenters will say. But I'm here for the truth.
Stay with me. Stay with me. This guy has a friend. At one point, he was driving with this friend, and his friend connected his phone to Bluetooth for music. They happened to pass each other, driving opposite ways at the exact time that his friend got a call from his wife, who he has on his phone as my wife, and it auto connected to his car's Bluetooth, and that showed up, and the call was actually not even a call.
Him and his buddies, his bros. Actually, no, this isn't it. Him and his buddies, his bros, they're out in an arcade, and they're asking for a certain amount of coins to play. And the man goes, "Are these for your wife?" He goes, "I know it's my brother, but it's so funny, man. You being my wife, I'm gonna put me in your phone as my wife."
I like that. That's good. I like the arcade setting.
That was real. That's right.
And that's gonna stick with me.
Because I know games. Okay, so let's see it.
All right, here we go.
Let's hear it.
After my post, I listened to my gut and took a step back. I told my ex, question mark, that I couldn't look at him the same after that trip we needed space. He kept reaching out with long messages declaring his love, but never actually explained how the my wife mix-up happened. I took Reddit's advice and did some digging. He's not on social media, but I found him on True People Search. Turns out he really isn't married, which I already suspected. I've dated enough to know when someone's hiding something big, and this didn't feel like that. So I called and asked for the truth. He put Big Bro on the phone, who tried to claim the car had somehow saved his contacts, and that's why I saw my wife call. Total bullshit. When I called it out, Big Bro left the call, and I got into another argument with my ex. I told him I was done and thought that was it. Wrong. He kept sending long messages, asking to see me, and would keep calling, which I ignored, until he finally said he'd tell me the truth. At that point, that's all I wanted because I knew what I saw and felt like I was being gaslit. So I called him. Y'all, it was a test. There's no wife, no girlfriend, no significant other. He admitted to making it up because I had already been pulling away before all this, and he wanted to see if I really cared. He was crying, saying he didn't mean for it to go this far. Honestly, at this point, I felt relieved. I had started to doubt myself, and I was right to trust my instincts. But that didn't change anything. I ended things again. And of course, he went right back to the long-winded messages, so I blocked him. It's over, I'm done. Moral of the story, always trust your gut. To answer some questions, no, I've never been to his house because I only do that if I see something going somewhere. Make of that what you will. This isn't the first time he's tested me, so I already have doubts. Yes, I've met Big Bro before, but we weren't close. Turns out he was in on it the whole time. No, this isn't fake. Oh,
So sorry.
I don't know what the test was.
The test!
The test was to just see if she cared.
So he felt her pulling away, so he made up a fictional life to see if he could get her pulled in? I don't understand.
Look, I don't. People can date however they want, go about relationships however they want. They're unofficial after 7 months, but he's been testing in these 7 months too. I'd be like, dude, you have patience like a saint. I would be, yeah. 7 months? No, because she's literally writing X like with a question mark. She's like, we're actually girlfriend.
I cannot think of one instance, and maybe it's because I'm thinking really quickly and we're at the end of this trip, when testing your partner is good.
It's never worked out.
When you're like, let me set you up and then rate you based off of the results.
If you don't have trust to just have a conversation and trust that they're telling you the truth, then I don't know where you go from there. Like testing, it's just never going to work. It establishes you don't want to trust that person. And as we've learned from so many Reddit stories, people who test their partners, they're never satisfied.
Yes.
They always have to then test them again.
But also that's such a weird power dynamic. That's like manipulation. That's like,
Totally.
there's nothing healthy about being like, let me test you.
I don't know. I feel like the fake wife is actually my brother Colin's pretty haircut. That was work out. I'm really surprised it didn't work out.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what? I'm glad you said that. I agree.
Changing it. And then you're gonna call, and then we lock the door. That's coach.
The guy I'm dating, Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That is such a weird way to ask if everything's okay.
It's so clearly just like a matter of being like, hey, we've been dating for 7 months and we haven't really like decided or like this is serious, and I'm just curious like where it's going. Like I'd love to know like your thoughts.
Yeah,
Like how simple like is that? Not just
No, you can't do that, man.
easiest thing to
You can't do that, man. You gotta test it.
It's so insane. That's the test. The test is just asking them, hey, are you like into this?
Yeah.
like, I want to be closer to you, so I'm gonna actually put more shit in between us. Like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Gross.
Alright. We're gonna move on to our last story, which I know is gonna sound shocking. That's our last story, but this one is a doozy. This is gonna be a ride. Okay. This comes from relationship advice. I, a 27-year-old woman, made a stupid joke to my husband, who's 30, and he stormed off. How do I fix this? Hey Reddit, I'm an Instagram snooper, so this is my first time here. I honestly never expected to post here because my husband, who's 30, and I have a great relationship. Of course, I can't say we haven't had our occasional bumps, but it's honestly a dream come true all the way through. Our wedding was April 2021, and we both cried like babies that day, and since then, the sailing has been smoother than soap. It's 2022 as of posting this, so it's November of 2022, so they've been married for about a year and a half. This afternoon, he and I came home after a little lunch outing with our newly engaged friends, Kai and Marina. It went great, but it was like just another outing, nothing special, though we got some bomb pasta back home, which I'm currently shopping to McDonald's, since it's too chilly for ice cream. We live in a super tiny apartment, and so he showered first while I got the leftovers into the fridge and stuff. finished my shower and put some lotion on my palm. I accidentally squeezed too much and dabbed some of it away. After I rubbed it on my face, I still had some of the leftover on my finger, and I did exactly what any perfectly sane person would do. On my thumb, I whipped up a little smiley face and some spiky hair to create lotion. I came out of the bathroom, giggling about it, and said something along the lines of, "Hey look, it's lotion man." He didn't really react. He just looked at my hand and blinked at me. I honestly was just goofing around and started making a silly voice and saying some random shit sprinkled with some inside jokes. I was blabbing for about a minute before he just up and left. I was of course completely oblivious as he grabbed some of his shit, and I just was smiling and asked where he was going in a kind of playful way. He has a huge truck, and we've just returned from a trip, so he has enough stuff to last him weeks. So it didn't really dawn on me that he was leaving until he drove away. Honestly feel like Boo Boo the fool for making such a stupid joke and then letting him leave just like that. You guys know Boo Boo the fool?
Yeah.
Oh, Boo Boo the fool is the jester in the chair. Did not know that. Thank you for having that knowledge.
Boo Boo the Fool is a jester in a chair.
Plot twist, Boo Boo the fool is the jester. Okay, so she shows him lotion. Goes, look, it's lotion. And he leaves and like fully leaves.
Dude, here's the thing, is I've done some bits so bad. So, I get it.
Maybe she just bombed that bad. I texted him a few times, and he's just said that he's thinking about things, and that he's at his brother Tyler's place. I've been texting him nonstop, but he hasn't been responding or even reading anything. He also sleeps really early, so I doubt I can get in contact with him anytime soon. His brother isn't responsive either, so I'm just leaving my phone on the nightstand. I don't think it's really dawned on me. I stared blankly at the door for like 10 minutes before I got off my ass and actually tried contacting him. I've been with this man for years, and I'm always cracking cheesy jokes. I feel stupid and like shit for making Lotion Man and continuing after no response instead of just shutting up and accepting that I'm unfunny. At the same time, I'm just confused. He's never been at this point even throughout rougher patches. The worst we've done is just take breaks from sex or just talk to one another over us. I wasn't planning on getting into my sex life, but honestly, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm all for giving him space, but I can't say I'm not hurt. He's just leaving. And the process of divorce is just so, I don't even want to think about this anymore. Was making Lotion Man as big of a mistake as I think it was? Any advice on getting him back home? Thanks, Reddit. Also, any cute subreddit suggestions would be appreciated. Since it's my first time on Reddit, and I want to distract myself. Guys, this is Lotion.
Dude, that's Lotion Man. That's awesome.
Yeah, comments here. There's something big missing to the story because ain't no way it's over the sofa. Someone said, I guess I'm missing something important. What was it about the Lotion Man that he got mad enough to leave? Someone said, that's a pretty extreme reaction, and it sounds like you didn't do anything wrong. We should perhaps stop texting, see what he says tomorrow. You need to find out why this caused this reaction, and he should be the one apologizing to you.
I feel so bad
For Lotion.
for her and Lotion. Okay, so I'm thinking that he was feeling like things weren't working out, but for him, for that to be what Snap did, like that's
Yeah.
so bad.
That's devastating.
For someone to have, I don't know, I don't think I would do a Lotion Man like Joe, but I do think nothing's off the table. So for someone to use a moment of failure, Lotion Man, and use that to be like, I'm leaving you, is the worst thing to hear.
Yeah, I've made jokes far worse than Lotion Man. Just like that. Like, they're just not good. Yeah. And, God, that would be devastating if I just told a really bad throwaway joke. Well, that's it. You're done.
Yeah, and it's no good because like sometimes I feel like our ability to make jokes coupled is your appointment. And what if you did a TNT bit and then you just saw like somebody in the back and it was so bad. Like I do Queen of Mark, and then I see someone come back here and they go, and then you walk in the back and they're like, stop. That's what this feels like to me.
I would never tell a joke again. I would never.
She's probably so rocked to her core.
I think what we're not considering is what if Lotion Man killed his father when he was a child? What if Lotion Man is like, it's like, hey, you know my history.
What if Lotion Man, that image specifically, looks a lot like her ex, who she's not over?
Her ex, Lotion.
What if?
Her ex, Lotion. And he's like, yeah.
No, you have to mine wasn't good.
No, no.
Okay.
It's a safe space. No one will leave you if you're not safe space.
No, I was gonna say, what if Lotion Man, she left out that she used Lotion Man to tell him that she'd been cheating on him. And it was like, she just left out the story. She's like, oh yeah, actually, well, I used Lotion Man as a little puppet.
Well, she's like, I didn't say that. Lotion Man said it.
Lotion Man said it. Yeah. I have no clue what the plot this could be.
I really hope it's not that he wasn't being honest for a long time and was hiding the fact that he wasn't into this, and then used that moment and really just slapped her in the face when she was giggling. You know what I mean? Like, I really hope this has a cool plot twist and not a hook.
I hope so too. Let's find out. Because we'll have to. Hey Reddit, again. I posted here earlier about how my husband laughed after I told him a dumb joke. You found it here. I followed the advice I got and kept my distance. You'll have me really pondering about how much of my relationship is the butterflies and kittens I thought it was. I still firmly believe that everything was absolutely perfect before it happened, but oh well, I have opinions. So you guys are right about some things and wrong about some things. For those of you saying that the lotion thing had nothing to do with it, you were kind of wrong. But for the people who said something happened during the lunch outing, you were right on the money. My husband came back the other day. He apologized and said he was ready to talk to me. I obliged. I tried my best not to be all over him, but quite frankly, I miss this man so damn much. He's my husband after all. I think I figured out what it is.
What is it?
I think I figured out what it is. I think Lotion Man was so endearing and so cute that he had cheated on her, and he was just like, I can't do this. Like, this is such a sweet, precious
That
man.
has to be it. Wait, this is the smartest you've ever looked. No, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant analyzation. That isn't a bad, that isn't a diss. That's me going, that's brilliant.
I'm also sitting here wondering if I've read this story before and I don't remember.
No, you remember Ocean.
I can remember Lotion. We've had so many, dude. We've had so many texts from people.
Like, she brings up
Lotion Man is one of the catalog of people.
She goes, like, look at Lotion Man. And he's like, I've been stealing money from you for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, something dark. And Lotion
Yes.
Man was like the most, like, innocent thing. I think you're so right.
No, because that's what I think would break someone. Like, if you cheat on like the person you love, and then a moment of just pure sweetness, that would be the moment that you're just like, it's like, so that's my. My husband came back the other day. He apologized and said he was ready to talk to me. I obliged. I tried my best not to be all over him, but quite frankly, I miss this man so damn much. He's my husband after all. He told me the following. I mentioned previously that we went out with our two newlywed friends, Kai and Marie. Kai is a 30-year-old man, Marie is a 29-year-old woman. We did have some quality time with all four of us, but often one or more people were missing from the table, considering it was a fusion buffet and the food was amazing. Apparently, at some point, my husband and Marie grabbed some food together, or maybe before we left, since I know I was talking to just Kai for a while before they appeared and we got to talk. Whatever it was, they were alone together. Marie, the fiancée, told my husband that when Kai proposed, she realized she was in love with him, my husband. But she accepted Kai's proposal and tried to put her feelings to rest by organizing a lunch out. Though apparently she was charmed or some bullshit because she asked him to run away with her or something. I don't know. But she wanted him to leave me and be with her. Now, Marie is honestly gorgeous, which I hate to say because I'm so pissed off with her. She's the typical blonde, blue-eyed, skinny pageant girl who looks kind of like Emma Watson. I'm not. My husband gently turned her down and wished her all the best, but he says he had her on his mind for a while. We were all college friends, so we know one another very well. But when I showed him Lotion Man, it all essentially exploded inside him. I had a hair towel and some shitty old clothes on, and I was giggling over a stupid thing, and apparently my immaturity ticked him off. He suddenly got cold feet about our relationship and left for his brother's place. He eventually came back and said he loved me all over again. I was frozen in shock and asked some questions before asking him to sleep on the couch at least for that night. He did, and it didn't really help me sleep. I can't believe that he was considering throwing away all of our relationship for a crush. The more I think about it, the less I can look him in the eye. We went to Thanksgiving lunch together with some of his family and some close friends, and we spent last night together, so I think he thinks he's in the clear. I can't lie and say I'm not considering just forgiving and forgetting though. He comes home from work about 6 hours from now, and I don't know what to do next. I have off today, I'm a teacher, and so I'm considering either one, contacting Kai and telling him about what his fiance is up to. My husband begged me not to, as Marie was apparently making a spontaneous mistake. Two, contacting Marie and shooing her out for trying to fuck up my relationship, or having a civil conversation, less tempting, it's whatever. Three, contacting Tyler, his brother, and asking if he left the house at some point. Tyler's house is very close to Marie's place, and I'm very worried about that, though I doubt I'll get anything out of him. Four, all of the above. Any advice or well wishes, because I'm not in a great place right now. Appreciate it.
That's so
That is like,
as someone who like hearing the story, like emotion is such shit that I like. I can't. Which way?
like maybe a little worse.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I feel, yes, I know what you were saying.
No, like I do so much dumb stuff like that. Like I can't. I really I can't over exaggerate the amount of terrible, dumb, stupid jokes that I make at a grade. If I made a dumb joke like that, like I was like, that's so funny, like silly, stupid, and that was how she responded. I would never. That's like I would never do it. Like that genuine crushes.
What a
Yeah.
bad time for him to hurt your feelings.
It's just like, dude, you got up and left out of nowhere with no explanation, and you left for a while, right? And you come back and this is your explanation. Like, this is your wife. Like, this is someone, you're breaking all the trust here.
I mean, it's like we talk about it all the time, where it's like no matter what, people have to take care of themselves in a relationship, and you have to like go with you. You can't be with someone if you're not happy, right? But the way you go about telling your partner, or not telling them, or the way you communicate is what makes you a good person with others. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what makes like you falling out of love with someone. That doesn't make you like immediately the asshole. The way you did it, like if you had the like care and like just forefront of thought to be like, let me think about this. How can I communicate this? How can I be responsible for my wife in this time when this is like really messy?
Yeah, because it's the classic thing of like, that I say all the time with like the love aspect is one thing, it's the respect.
Yes,
He's disrespecting
that's what I meant to say.
so much. He's disrespecting her nonstop here. Because yeah, your feelings, love, it's that can be a roller coaster for people.
Yeah.
But respect is a choice, and he made a lot of choices here that were very disrespectful to her. We now go back to what we were talking about earlier. She knows that Marie confessed her love for her husband, and here's Kai over here that she's talking to.
Mid-buffet is weird.
Yeah.
Mid buffet is crazy.
Because
Confessing
like,
your love at a buffet?
but like mid-buffet, like when you get up, and I was just at a buffet for an Easter brunch with my family, and it's always like someone's like guarding the boat a little, and you're like, you go out, yeah, well, I'll stay here, I'll sit at the table, and then someone comes back, and then you kind of all eat at different shifts, and people go back for seconds to be like, let's go to a salad bar.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with you, and I'm like, you, and then go back.
Like they picking up a lobster roll.
Yeah. And you just like go back and
I've been in love with you all these years. Grab some Jello.
yeah.
Did you want some of this, by the way?
Let's keep this conversation maybe a minute tops. Let's go back. Like, what?
It's yeah, no, that's and it is. It's so disrespectful. Like that is not the way that you handle it. Just leaving and not saying a word is so awful. Like if you are having these thoughts, like take a second to process and be like, hey, I want to sit down with you and tell you like
Yeah.
what happened in
Right.
like
Or like, if you're not even ready to talk about that specific part, just never leaving your partner high and dry without any explanation and quite literally abandoning the person.
Yeah, and it's like you abandon her is already a lot.
Yeah.
You come back and go, the reason I abandoned you is because this person confessed their love for me, and I was thinking about it. It's like, okay, we're done.
yeah.
It's like when you fight or flight, that instinct to leave her when there's
Yeah,
issues.
like, you were leaning towards that. Now I'm supposed to feel confident in us forever.
And I totally understand, like, if there's a moment where you, like, have a lot of emotions, I totally get needing to be alone.
Yes, no, I get that too.
You need to, like, take
But you need to tell
yeah.
you. Tell them that before you disappear.
Yeah,
It's sad. It's like, just send them a text. Like, literally, even if you walk out and send a text and it's like, hey, I have some things going on, like, mentally right now. I just need to sit for a second. And we can talk. Like, don't stress too much. Like, I just need to sit. Like, that's great. That's fine. Like, but yeah, to just walk out, get in your truck, drive, no explanation, and yeah, then just come back and be like, God, yeah, well, I was thinking about someone else that said that they loved me. It's the worst thing that you can do to a person after they show you relationship.
Update number 2. Regardless of what happens in this next plot twist, the friend group is down.
we're not going to fusion buffets. No. We're doing wrong ones. I don't know who.
We're doing bi-weekly one.
Yes. Oh God, I'm scared.
I don't know what can happen. A lot of you had some really interesting theories, LOL, and surprisingly, most of them were somewhat right. The majority ruled that I should do all 3. Confront Kai, Marie, husband, and Tyler. Not necessarily in that order, and so I had to get smart with it since a lot of you guys told me that any of them could twist the story had they known there was an outside influence. Before I begin, yes, the full story is wacky and honestly doesn't make that much sense. I'm honestly just piecing it together via context clues, and I do have some questions left unanswered. When my husband came home, we had a conversation. He essentially said the same story as before, and he told me he was open to my marriage counseling suggestion. I gave him a big hug and did the laundry. Usually we split the laundry, plus I had been giving him a light cold shoulder. So I indirectly forgave him, in his eyes at least. We haven't really set boundaries with our phones, like we know each other's passwords and everything, and he would definitely get suspicious if I was just scrolling around on him. So instead, I agreed to meet up with Kai first. A lot of you guys were concerned that he would tell Marie and everything would implode, but Kai is a big gym nut and I've been wanting to go recently, so I said it as casually as possible, using it as an excuse. He agreed. The next morning, I met with Kai. I sat down with him and told him all I know. Yes, I cried like a baby. Originally, Kai was rigid and tried to kindly poke holes in what I was saying with a few gotcha questions before he too broke down. Marie didn't tell him a word. That was a big red flag on its own. I then went to Marie with Kai. A few redditors told me to be as discreet as possible, and so, as a suggestion said, I just blurted to her that I know everything. She played dumb at first, and then eventually broke. You all were right. Marie trying to settle her crush was a bullshit story. My husband was the one who approached her.
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
There it is.
She told me that he asked her before she sealed it with Kai if she wanted to have a night with him and another woman. Here's the kicker. Marie said yes.
And she's alive. No kidding.
Oh no, so
He casually pitched a threesome while on a buffet date, double date. And he was at the lamb chop section of the buffet. And he said, me and two other women that are not here with us at the buffet.
But wait, I hate to say it, but that's not all. Apparently Marie has been cheating on Kai for a while, with men and women, and my husband has also been cheating frequently. They covered for each other and occasionally met up.
Oh, the friend group is strong.
I don't know if this friend group's gonna make it.
Yeah, the band is breaking.
At the last moment, she declined because she wanted to be loyal to Kai now that they were engaged, as if she wasn't cheating for the majority of the relationship. And my husband got all pissed off for a while before saying he's just locked up in his apartment. Cue me showing him lotion. He snaps and gets out of it. Kai and Marie are both arguing in tears and red in the face. I told them sorry that I butted into their relationship and that I'll handle my husband myself. She's like, see you later.
I can't get over this man, like having all these like crazy threesomes, and then his wife doesn't want
She's like, hey, threesome? You, me? Lotion man?
When he sees that, he's like, my God.
I found Tyler before the sunset. He told me yes, his brother stopped by, but only around 11 p.m. He left at around 8, so those 3 hours went from the call. Tyler told me that he was angry and didn't tell him anything. I then tell him some context, just the lotion man, and he says that maybe he was driving around for a while. It doesn't sound like my husband to drive his relief, but I'm willing to look into it, since the future was already looking pretty bleak. I went home, I Googled something on my husband's phone. Instead, I was just checking if any of them had contacted him. Nothing. I would have gone into more depth, but that got away. Instead, I tried to keep him busy for the duration of the day, Remember how I said he goes to sleep really early? Well, that worked in my favor. Took his phone that night while he was snoring his ass off, ran into a million dead ends. I knew I was missing something, but I just couldn't find it. Finally, I opened his hidden photos. Kaboom! His story explodes to pieces. What did I find? Nudes. Nudes, more nudes, even more nudes. All of one girl. Not me. Shocker. But not Marie either. I don't recognize her. Let's call her Allison. She's absolutely gorgeous. Red hair, hourglass figure, you name it. I'm obviously broken. I traced her back to a contact. I feel sick. There it is, an affair. He's been contacting her since February, days before I surprised him with the Valentine's thing that I had been using up my paychecks for, and thinking I was the luckiest one alive. It sucks. I can't even read one. But I toughed through it. Then I found it. November 3rd, 2 days after the last game. She's pissed off. She found out he was married all along. She was in love with him. I would feel bad for her, but she didn't even bother trying to contact me out of love. Hubby has a genius idea. He told Allison that he'll bring his wife over to a hotel to show that his wife doesn't care about the affair. Sound familiar? So I assume when Marie canceled, there was nothing he could do. He became whiny and begged her to come. He told Allison that there was an inconvenience and they'd meet up another day. Then, the lotion man. He got pissed off at me and left. I don't know what he did after that, but whatever it was, he wasn't with either of them. Then he went to Tyler's place, slept it off, and came back after me. I'll spare you the details, but I couldn't even pretend to like him anymore after I found that out. I brought Kai and Marie over the next morning. He started blubbering and tried to deny it all, before eventually admitting he was into redheads. Marie is actually stronger and blonde, but Allison is very ginger. And it was the one desire of his I couldn't fulfill. Even I could see past
I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to stop this.
He's like, fine, you got me. I'm into redheads. He's like, I'm sorry, it's just the last thing on my bucket list.
Even I couldn't see past his bullshit saying that he loved only me and that being with Allison/Marie only made him love me more. I just said f it and packed my stuff. He got more desperate, but even I, the girl who was honestly infatuated with him, knew it was over. He technically owns the apartment, so I had to leave. Now I'm staying with Kai. I feel for him too. His wife was his world. We were hugging and crying for a while, ranting about God knows what, just trying to get ourselves together, to be honest. He tried to lighten the mood by making lunch, and it was really nice. He's a wonderful cook.
Stop making lotion.
Making lotion, man. I showed him the other two posts, and he got a kick out of some of the comments. Haha. As far as I know, my soon-to-be ex-husband is with Marie for now. I don't care about either of them, and honestly, it's kind of therapeutic just having some kind of closure and not walking on eggshells like I have been for the past few days. Kai and I are going to the gym tomorrow to do some relaxing yoga and hopefully figure out what to do next. We've both taken off from work. I'm sorting out my finances and hopefully I should get the ball rolling to finally legally split from my husband and be able to call him my ex. I'm still so frazzled. I have at least half a dozen pictures of him and me on my desk, and our wedding picture is my lock screen on pretty much all of my devices. I know my students will notice his sudden disappearance from my life, and I'll have to tell them that the guy I've been raving about for the past forever is divorcing me. I'll have to tell all my family and friends. Kai is my rock in this whole thing, and we'll eventually have to part ways, which hurts me because he's honestly my number one support system after this. Living arrangements, actual divorce costs, law stuff, yuck, therapy, sigh. I still have to go through it all. I can't believe I thought this relationship was perfect. It's really therapeutic to just write this all down. I'll be coming back for more advice someday. Though just now I've seen all, yes, all of your sweet words, and I'll continue working around for a long time. But this should be my final update for now. Thank you again from me and Kai. Update number 3, condensed for time, so we're going to solve here. Oh, he got a divorce and is now in a happy relationship. That is the final update. So she did. She was able to get out of that. You know what's still one of the most interesting things to me about cheating is how cheaters often build up resentment for their partners. Right? It's such a weird psychology. It's such a weird thing. I've read it before. I still don't understand it. Like where that resentment comes from. It's interesting. So that's really what happened. It's like was mad at her.
No, I mean,
Emotion, man.
when you're that deep in a psychosis that's telling yourself that what you're doing isn't wrong, this person is annoying because they're in the way. Like I think you have to be kind of so deep in not logic to be upset with that.
To sit there and tell these people I'm one of the redheads
Yeah.
and think You're gonna get through this. Oh,
That's the craziest response ever. Of like the admission of guilt for him to just be like, I'm into records. Like,
She's like, oh.
it's beyond parody. It's
no, so many levels of this is so disrespectful.
That is.
He planned a whole thing of, I'm gonna get Marie to come to pretend to be my wife.
It's like literally like Mrs. Doubtfire, like. Where he's like, I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna run between the restaurants and like, and get all the redhead I want.
Jesus. It's so sad too.
Plot twists.
Oh, I feel so bad for her, but I'm happy she like. It sounds like she took care of herself. I'm happy she didn't have to do it alone. She had Kai.
And you know, how does lotion?
Where does he sit?
Yes.
Honestly, there is lotion woman.
I was gonna say.
I'm a little suspicious of lotion.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Well, show us your phone, lotion, man.
Yeah. Hey,
If there's nothing to hide, just show your phone. Open your phone.
show us your phone.
Just open your phone. If there's nothing to hide, I just want to talk.
Show us your phone. Yes, you will. Honest joke.
Next to lotion.
Next to lotion. Thank you both for being here. This was wild. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I feel as if I screamed a little bit.
No, that was,
Angela, what?
yeah, you screamed.
And we're sorry about that prank.
It's okay. It really
A
hurt.
really good prank that we executed perfectly.
He's going to be not disappointed at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it?
Literally come to you like really easy things.
Actually, like for the Reddit listener, that like for one episode at the top of the episode, you just hear people go, yeah, wow, I couldn't imagine. I'm like, that's a weird episode.
Oh man, whatever Reddit stories. Okay, thank you both for being here. Thank you for watching, and let us know what other themes and subreddits you'd like to see on the show, and we will see you next Saturday. Bye. First one comes from Am I the Asshole? My wife wants a divorce because I told her I'll water her regularly for photosynthesis. So, my wife wants a divorce because I told her I'll water her regularly for photosynthesis.
Okay, I read that right. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
That's not how photosynthesis
That's
works.
photosynthesis.
I don't know how you water a woman, but that's
Probably why she wants a divorce. Because he doesn't
Because she was
photosynthesis.
and she's like, hey, I'm a biologist. That's not how it works.
right. So you figured it out.
Throw away because I'm half embarrassed to post this in the first place. My wife is 26 and I, a 28-year-old man, have been married for 6 months now. We don't joke around usually since I have early on figured she's not too into jokes and I'm not much into jokes either. Yesterday, I was randomly sitting on my couch watching TV and she came up to me and asked me if I still love her if she were a plant. So I'm very much aware of trap questions that exist and my first thought was to make sure to give her a good answer. I told her I still love her then and water her regularly for photosynthesis. I wasn't joking here, although I know it might sound silly. I said it very seriously too. Usually when I joke, I laugh right off because I can't handle my own embarrassing jokes either. But this wasn't one of those cases. My wife just looked at me dead in the face like I said something really wrong. She said that was insensitive of me to joke about and could have phrased it better. I got a little defensive because I found it absurd that she kept saying it was a bit too much to joke about the question, when I really wasn't trying to do that. Then suddenly she said she wanted a divorce, which made me laugh. I agree it wasn't the right timing to laugh, but it came out accidentally and she said, see, you're not taking me seriously at all. We had a small argument which then escalated with her bringing out my past nonchalant way of talking that she said was very immature and not considerate of the other person. She got really upset and brought up the divorce again. I thought she might just be sulky and will let this go soon enough, but she's dead serious about this thing. She called her mom today saying she is considering a literal divorce. Her mom hasn't said anything or called me yet, and my wife isn't talking to me at all. I'm genuinely lost because I didn't mean what I said with any bad intentions. Just when I felt like I settled down a bit, this happens and I'm not sure what I should be doing. Is there anything I can say to make her feel better? I really don't want a divorce due to something like this, but I'm willing to correct my way of answering or talking.
That's absurd.
Girl.
That is, I feel like that's like the answer you'd want to hear. Like anytime it's like, dude, would you still love me if I was a worm? And it's like, I'd make a little home for you, like dirt in my house. Like that's a great, like, he's like, I'd care for you, I'd water you every day.
Right.
That's very sweet.
It's like not only is she getting upset over an absurd question and answer, but he also answered the question correctly, and she's still upset.
Yeah, I'm as confused as you guys are. This almost strikes me as like, did she just want a divorce and she's just trying to find
Something.
something?
I think it's maybe the latter half that is telling us more about what's going on. The whole him saying things nonchalant, I think, is the deeper rooted element of
I guess maybe from this story, we don't know.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It also seems like something that could have been brought up like previously if this was something that she had an issue with. It just seems like this nonchalant. She's like, I just think you could take me a little bit more seriously. It seems like a pretty reasonable conversation to have before you get married to someone.
right.
Yeah, like bringing up like, hey, I don't feel like you're taking me seriously.
Right.
But being like, would you love me if I was... Because honestly, the question, would you still love me if I was a prince, is a silly question.
Yeah.
It's like funny. It's a funny question to bring up because it is like absurd. And he answered it seriously, which that would make me laugh.
Yeah.
Someone answering that question seriously, like, walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away.
And being like, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm gonna do the effort of making sure that you can love me still, in a way.
Yeah, love you first.
She's like, get out of
You're
here.
not taking this seriously. You're not thinking about ideas.
Yeah. If anything, he's taking it far too serious.
She's like, relationships. You love me too much.
I feel like I'd be if you were recording.
Damn. Smoky, babe.
I love the top comment. The top comment is being single is underrated. 14,000 upvotes. Just like, we're good with that.
Yeah.
Someone said, in my humble opinion, she wanted a divorce before that. I believe she used this convo as an opportunity to tell you. In other words, I don't think you had anything to do with it. I hope I'm wrong. Someone else said, can't imagine being together with someone that old. Maybe a divorce is for the best. Might even go for an annulment if it's possible, so no division of assets. The asshole.
Damn.
Yeah.
Makes me feel so good.
Yeah. We also got friends who are classic.
On board AF, those two plans, they book every time. I can be a fake.
Okay. You know what
So I'm fired.
You know what this story reminds me of is the legend of Lotion Man, which was another story we read where a lady was coming out of the shower and she put a little lotion in front of her like a smiley face and her hair and she goes to her husband and goes, hey, look, it's Lotion Man. And he just leaves the house, gets in his car, and it uncovers that there was like a whole affair and everything going on, and that was just the moment that like watched it.
He was having an affair with
He
somebody
was
else.
having an affair, yeah. And also that moment of seeing Lotion Man, it just hit him.
Oh my god.
So it's just like, I guess that's how life works. Is like, if you don't address things
Yeah.
and let things build up, the moment that it's gonna break might be a silly moment.
Yeah. It comes out in silly ways.
Yeah, I know people relate to that, like in relationships that weren't going right, and you kind of know it or maybe you sense it, but then it's like those moments that shouldn't be big suddenly become big, and you feel insane when you're on the receiving end because you're not sure what's wrong.
Yeah.
But if your partner or someone is not in it or feeling a bunch of stuff and you're not addressing it,
Yeah.
then it's those like moments that don't make sense when you're like burst.
Yeah. Because then you're just post shower with Lotion Man on your finger alone in the bathroom.
I get that too when people really need closure because problems, relationships end in ways like that. Where you're like, what happened? What was with that joke? What was with the thing? And when it's really probably something.
Yeah. Although when you put it like that, I think there actually are probably a lot more cases where
yet. Like, there are those little things that, like, yeah, to somebody else or like on the outside of the situation, it wouldn't be weird, but that do kind of like, you know, trigger something in the back of your head that you might not realize is like, oh, I don't want to hit this person. Like, I don't want to hit this. But this is just the turbo extreme version of that that has been built up over a crazy long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, they're clearly not a right fit, regardless of what's going on. I mean, humor is a huge part of things. You're not on the same wavelength of that vibe. Well, that's the end of that one. So update. So we don't know.
Is she a plant?
I think she might have actually been.
Yeah.
Back to the show. Our next story comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for not taking down an X-rated book when my ex's girlfriend asked me to? Okay. Last year, I, a 24-year-old woman, wrote an erotic novel to make some money on the side. It ended up picking up traction and makes a fair amount of sales every month. I'm not living off the income, but it helps pay some bills every month while I'm getting my master's. A lot of the book was inspired by my boyfriend at the time. He knew I was writing it, and it was often a joke between us that he had to give me more to write about. He read the book before I self-published it and gave it his seal of approval. I wouldn't have published it if he'd been uncomfortable. The character doesn't resemble him in personality or appearance, and there are no hints that would give away who my inspiration was. I wrote under a fake name too, so it's unlikely to trace back to it all. We broke up 6 months ago, but we keep in touch. We've been friends for a while, and the split was mutual, so there are no hard feelings. I knew that he'd started seeing someone over the summer, and I guess he told her about the book because she approached me at the library yesterday and asked me to take the book down. She said it makes her uncomfortable knowing that people can read details about her sex life. I asked her if my ex was uncomfortable with it, and she said he was. I told her I would take it down. That night, I texted my ex and told him I was sorry the book made him uncomfortable, and that I would take it down as soon as I could. He had no idea what I was talking about. He said it didn't make him uncomfortable, and that I didn't need to take it down. He cracked some jokes about how he was glad I was still profiting from his hard work. When I told him his new girlfriend had approached, he said that she did think it was weird, but it wasn't her fault. Today, I was eating lunch, and the girl came up to me again. She started saying that I was disrespectful for going behind her back to talk to her girlfriend. Side note, I talk to my ex semi-frequently anyways, and that I was disgusting for ever publishing a book. She also said that it was gross I was involving other people in my exhibitionist account. I let her talk for a bit and then told her she was overreacting. I said I did it to make money, not because I derive pleasure from it, and that the book's publication is between me and my ex. It doesn't involve her. She called me a bitch and stormed off. I know it's kind of weird to have a book out there with details about me and my ex's sex life, but I don't really want to take it down because it's a good source of income. Am I the asshole? That's so...
Side note is it's so funny to say I let her talk for a bit.
I let her talk.
I let her talk for a bit, and then finally I was like, alright, bitch.
Go on. No. Such a unique... this is honestly not the first time we've read something about an erotic novel being inspired from real life, and it's something I've never considered before. But I think the big thing here that is huge is the consent of it all. And he consented to it, and he's also consistent with it, right? Like, that feels like the big piece here. I don't know. I mean, this is...
But also, it seems like she went to really like great lengths to be like, it doesn't resemble him in appearance or personality. Like, there's nothing tied to it that could trace it back to him at all. It's just probably just like sex things they did. And it's like you could get sex things from anywhere. It's like,
I love sex.
you know, it's like it's just probably easier for her to write about things that she's personally experienced. And it's like it's such a crazy thing if he is just like fine with it.
Yeah, we should get the name of this novel for research purposes.
Yeah, I got
Smosh reads this erotic novel.
Smosh reads sex things.
Honestly, hit show. Hit
Hit
show.
after hit.
The verdict's not the asshole, and I agree with that because she's not like she's talking to her. She did the right thing of like, oh, I'll go to my ex. If he's uncomfortable, she was like willing to take it down if he was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, I'm not. Like, keep it up. And she's like, okay, I will. I do understand the discomfort.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand. I mean, of course. Bro, like, if you're dating someone who's like, oh, there's a book that details how does feel uncomfortable, but you have to like talk to your partner about that,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be like, that's kind of hot.
I think I could see. Look, there's probably a bunch of different types of reactions to those things.
But I
That
mean,
depends on how comfortable you feel and secure you feel in your current relationship. He seems like, I mean, from what I'm reading, it seems like he's a very secure person. She is too. Or he. But the new girlfriend is feeling a type of way about it. We should flag that the OP and her ex broke up 6 months ago as of this being posted. So the new girlfriend, it's very fresh.
I do totally get it. Like, I think that's something that would make me uncomfortable just as far as like where my insecurities are. But it is really a conversation that you have with your partner, with the person, with all people. It's got to
Go behind to go behind it like that and lie and say that
yeah.
is that's where she's really I think she's in the wrong.
Yeah, it's also so bold to do that so early on in a new relationship. To be able to, to go to great lengths to communicate to the ex like that. I feel like I also remember you saying that they communicate semi-frequently.
Yeah, she
So
said
maybe
that.
that's a part of it.
Yeah, I mean look, their feelings are I think the feelings are valid.
Completely.
Their actions are so I think it's a huge red flag if you're dating someone and your new partner contacts you, goes up to your ex without your knowing or without your like discussion first, that's a massive red flag. I think no matter who your ex is, it's just like, hey, you're taking things in your hands that shouldn't be.
Right. Because it just disrupts the core principle of the relationship that you guys are a unit, that you're a team, and that you're communicating about everything that's basically happening in your lives. So to cross the boundary on something so delicate as an ex behind your partner's back, you're right. It's a major red flag.
I mean, I know that erotic novels always exist, but I feel like we're really in this era. They're very mainstream. Like, I hear about them all the time. I've read some.
Yeah. I like the audio book.
Nice. Badass.
Thanks.
I do love sex.
You take
novels.
out you take out a headphone right now. You're like, anyways.
I'm listening to it right now.
But it's an interesting aspect of consent that I never considered until like this show. But it's really fascinating. Comments. Not the asshole. Her insecurities are not your issue. Someone said, not the asshole. You cleared it with your ex twice now. Sounds like your current girlfriend feels threatened. That's on her. Someone said, involving people in my exhibitionist kink unwilling. Seeking erotic novels out and paying for them is hardly part of her. She's the one going around her boyfriend's back to get her way. Let those kinky dollars roll in, not the asshole.
Kinky dollars.
I would also say, like, I guess everyone's reading experiences are different, but it's like she's reading this knowing like this is about this woman and her ex, right? But most people reading a book are putting themselves in it in some sort of way. A book is like a completely different experience for every person who reads it. I've thought about this. I think the reader is the one who like kind of completes the novel, right? Like the writer writes it, but the novel isn't done when they're done writing it. The reader is the one who finishes it. We create it together, right? Like it's what a book looks like in everyone's head is kind of so. And then it's interesting when the castings come out for the movie version, some people like it, some people don't. Well, because everyone has a different idea of the story in their head. So I'm like, they're not reading your boyfriend and your ex and his ex. They're not reading that. They're reading a different story.
It's interesting to put it like that too, because then it's like I even challenge the new girlfriend in that if this book was taken down, I don't know if her problems would be solved. Like she still read this experience.
It's still there.
She's uncomfortable with what she read, and she's letting it out and executing it in a way of like finish it. Nobody else needs to read this. But I think she clearly is just still like, I hate what I read and I hate what I know, and trying to manage it in some way by shutting it down. But it's still going to persist.
It's because that parasites.
Totally.
Update. Shortly after I made the post, I got on Amazon to look at my book and noticed I'd got an influx of bad reviews. I checked reviews and found some buzzwords that my ex's girlfriend had used. Thankfully, I'm fairly certain I can get these removed. I'm also concerned because Amazon takes a few days to process reviews, so I don't know how many more of these will be coming. I decided to call my ex and let him know what was happening. I told him about his girlfriend confronting me, calling me a bitch, how she initially lied to me about his feelings and now the bad reviews. He was floored. I don't think he had seen that side of her personality. My ex is an all-around great guy and he was very apologetic. He said he would talk to her about it. He said he didn't tell her the name of the book, but he did have it on his Kindle, so she must have sneaked and found it. This morning, I was getting a coffee in the student center, and the girl walked up to me and started screaming at me. Apparently, she and my ex broke up, and she blamed it on me. I didn't know what to do, so I just took off walking to my car. She started calling me a slut and a pervert. Nothing in the book is that bad, especially if you like erotica already. She followed me out the building, but thankfully stopped chasing me once I hit the parking lot. I was shaking, and I called my ex again. He ended up coming to sit in my car with me until I calmed down. We considered calling the campus police, but I didn't want to explain it to them, so he walked me back inside. She was there, but when she saw my ex with me, she didn't yell. She burst into tears and said she knew he was cheating. He told her to leave me alone, he hadn't cheated, factual, and that he broke up with her because she was too jealous and immature. Ex bought me a coffee and we discussed how I would use support if she purchased me a book. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I hope. Definitely feels like sequel material, although I'm a bit lacking in the physical inspiration part these days. Her next book is a horror.
Damn, now I want OP and the ex to get back together and bang for the sequel.
I actually love that they did, like, because it's just like, hey, like, there was like, that book was factual, but like, we're in a new era. Like, this is, and that shows.
As far as wrestlers go, I see that there being close relationships between two people that I
Yeah.
It's like just like very like consensual, communicative, like they're on the same page, even though they're broken up. Like
I would say I'm not surprised by their maturity because I honestly think it takes a lot of maturity to like the compartmentalization and ability to write about it. Like would tell me that was probably is emotional and like able to like recognize the differences of things. I don't know the inspirations of things and stuff, but man, that ex. That's so far that's the ex of the episode.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's so interesting too. I mean, it's so predictable the way that she immediately is blaming OP for the breakup, and then sees them together and calls it cheating. It's like there's so much displacing of responsibility and blame, just a constant source of insecurity.
Oh my god, yeah. It sucks. I mean, insecurity really is like it can just do so much to a person that it will bite into it more. I want to feel bad for her, but she did chase OP down to her so bad. There's some sympathy there.
Yeah. Campus police look at them.
Maybe like that's crazy. Can I do it?
Yeah.
They're like, wait, you wrote that book.
Yeah.
you're like, hey, if this relationship thing didn't work out, you go.
Anyway, I need a ride to the co-op.
Sorry, real quick detail. We did have pizza.
And that's all. I'm into this man.
It's like, is it that I'm curious what people think, like, because I'm like, okay, that I can still have a problem with him having his kid. Because it is specific stories about them, though, but that is a conversation that this ex needs to have with him. OP does not need to be involved, is just kind of my take. Like,
Yeah.
she's on her own. If she has issues with any of this, she needs to talk to someone in the partner about it.
I don't blame him though. Maybe for having it on the Kindle, I say you go to Barnes and Noble and you read it at the store, and then you go home and then you never talk about it again. Is maybe what I would do.
People probably do it. People probably do it.
Absolutely, but I feel like that's the most discreet way to do it. I just feel like I don't blame him for the curiosity of just being like, what is this book and what is it made up of? I don't know. I feel like truthfully I would want to know.
So, looking back, the ex-boyfriend did tell her his new partner about this book. He informed her of it.
Even better.
And then she found it on his Kindle. So he did have it on his Kindle, but there's no saying to like, we don't know.
Yeah. Every night.
What if she was uncomfortable with him having it on his Kindle? Like, she could probably that, right? I mean, it's that's why I don't know. I guess I'm a little unsure how I feel.
I will say I don't think I've ever believed in it.
That's also where I'm at. I'm like,
just like, if it wasn't like the recently read, like 30 seconds or something,
We read 50 times yesterday.
yeah, it's a little weird, but it's like, there's just a book on the Kindle. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think I'm trying to like put myself directly in those shoes because it's also like from her angle too, you see the author's name, which is the X.
X's name.
So you're also seeing that, and I feel like that's a bigger trigger to be like, oh my god, what is she doing on here? Like it's almost similar to that with like photos or like a quick identifying variable, you know?
Yeah. Didn't she say she wrote under an alias though?
I'm trying to find it, but I think she said she wrote under an alias. But either way, the New York suit. Once again, you know, my views, like the insecurity, the feelings are all one thing, but the actions she took, unfortunately. You cannot chase someone. You just can't.
You can.
Well, there are situations.
Well, unless it's laser tag.
This is really important.
Unless it's laser tag, but you know that's often a bad sign because you expose your back. As you're chasing someone down, it's usually when you actually.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Hope you left the letter here, so it's a mini little update. First, thank you everyone for the replies. I made the post when I was questioning the sanity of the situation, and the comments probably haven't been heard. Some answers to questions. I don't know why he told her about that book. Since the post, I've told him it's something I would like to keep between the two of us. I feel like if anyone in my master's program finds out, I'll be taking it less seriously. If you're interested in self-publishing, try Amazon and do some reading about keywords. There are tons of blogs on it. I won't be giving out the name of the book as it gets very, very pinky, and this post has gotten a lot of views. I fear someone finding the story on other websites on the off chance I made it by TikTok and making the connection, especially considering I don't know who else my ex has told. I have no idea how this post is finding me. I'm on campus every time, so I assume it's just by chance as she's in a master's program as well. Ooh.
okay. So that is also interesting. The idea of her asking her ex to just keep it between the two of them. Well, does that feel like something you would have to tell your partner? Like, I don't know if like that feels like information you should share.
That's like a weird line, yeah, because it's not.
I think it's a line that I think a lot of people have very strong lines on. It's once again, it's just a dilemma I've never been faced with or considered. So I'm sitting here like, how do you think about this? It's truly my answer. I don't know if people like that or not, but I'm like, how do I feel about a book being written and then you need to like, you're asked to not share it?
Right.
Because it's, I don't know, because I'm trying to think of like other comparable like things in relationships, but this is like a publicly published book.
I think it's also because he's still friends with the ex that did. I think if they had had a split or something where they were like, hey, this is mutual, and they never spoke again, it would be, I think that there's a reasonable amount of like him being like, okay, I'm just going to forget that that happened. I know that it's out there, like it's in the past. But because it's with an ex that he's still friends with and talking to, I think I understand that he would need to communicate that and
I
be
get
open
that.
about
I
it.
think so too, and I think you're right. I think some people are going to be split on this, and they're going to be like privacy first, and you don't have to share things like maybe there's like some sort of middle ground of like once you've been with somebody for a certain amount of time, then you can trust them with this information and open up about it. I just feel like I'm going off of the notion that like I feel like I over communicate in a relationship, and I'm just like, hey, like my ex texted today, and I just want to put that out there, like just so that nothing is like questioned at all.
I agree with that. You know, like open communication, I think is just better.
Yeah.
It's because it's like, oh, you find out if she did find out So, but this girl came in the picture. We struggled with that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
It must have been really freaking kinky.
and I'm imagining all sorts of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
the imagination's
I'm actively imagining. No.
I think we need to cut.
Anyways, all right, let's move on. I'm so curious what people's perspectives are now, Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, our next story comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my wife I won't be as stressed out next year because I won't be married yet?
Oh no, I triggered.
That's a crazy title.
That is,
Oh god, oh god.
that is some like Game of Thrones ass.
Yeah, that's kinky.
I won't be as stressed next year because I won't be married to you.
Oh,
Oof. This is a 32-year-old man. I've been married to my wife, Jen, 32-year-old woman, for a little over 7 years now. Up until about 2 years ago, things were great. However, a disaster struck. A few family emergencies and a total panic left us in a terrible financial situation. All our savings are pretty much gone. 401k is empty, and we're hemorrhaging. Before we bought our house 2 years ago, things were amazing financially. We made the mistake of buying a nice 3-bedroom house because we planned on having kids. Those plans, thankfully, got put on the back burner because adding a kid into this mess right now would kill us. It's not really a mystery why things are like this. Jen and I are both underpaid at our jobs, and we moved into a high cost of living area like morons. Last December, I told Jen one of two things needed to happen. We either sell the house or start making more money. The latter would most definitely mean finding new jobs that would pay us a market rate. Jen pushed back on this because she loved the house and her current job. I told her she had to choose one and couldn't have it both ways, and after a week of arguing, she agreed we would look for new jobs. It's been almost 6 months now. Last Friday, I signed an offer for a new job. It's over a $35,000 raise for me. Jen, however, has done nothing. In January, she asked for a raise in the market rate and was very disrespectfully told by her manager that she was not worth it. She was shown the door to leave if she wasn't happy. Jen has taken this as her putting in the effort and done nothing else, telling me we should wait and see what happens with our job search. I'm not happy about this. When I came home Friday and told her I got the job, she got pissy because I clarified this does not mean she can stay at the job. We fought again, and I told her that this would mean we only stop hemorrhaging money at the house. We would be able to save only a little and would still not be close to refilling our 401ks. Kids, the whole reason we got this damn house would be entirely off the table. We haven't talked much since then. Yesterday, her parents visited for dinner. Despite my best efforts to keep them out of it, Jen announced my new job to her parents by saying maybe I'll stop complaining about money once I start. I don't know why I said it, but I replied with, oh, don't worry, Jen. I won't have to worry about money a year from now because we'll be divorced by then. Things got quiet real quick after, and I excused myself. Her parents left shortly after, and she slept on the couch to avoid talking to me. I've not talked to Jen or her parents since last night. Things are very cold between us right now, and I genuinely wonder if I did something last night that hurt me.
are you kidding?
What happened to me?
Oh my god. In front of her parents.
Okay, what I said. What I said.
Just putting it over.
Just bring it in, baby. You're the sexy.
There's so much that I wasn't qualified to like. I'm like, you need to talk to your parents. These are some real world issues you guys are going through.
Right.
But we can say that saying don't preach and divorce, but you're in front of your parents is
Yeah.
and you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
You just basically
You signed it.
Yeah,
You
and
signed
he's
it.
saying that as
Yeah.
a joke. That is a terrible joke. It's like if you're saying that and he's saying that in earnest, like that's a terrible way to do it. But he's being honest. But the fact that he's like, oh, it's ruined my marriage. Yikes! And it's like, come on, man.
come on.
Yeah, it's clear it was a moment of him losing his temper and patience, right? In his head, he was like, okay, like if she brings this up, like it's gonna really disrupt things for me. That's not what I want. So he was kind of waiting for that at dinner. And then I think when she did that, then it was like, oh, and he just said something. I'm sure he didn't mean it, but that still doesn't mean you're gonna be excused from the consequences. Like you say something so hurtful, and your audience is your wife of 7 years and her parents. Like that, it's
many stories like this, but I've also heard so many from people. I'm kind of getting the view now of when someone threatens a breakup or divorce or like holds that over someone's head. I'm like, no, then you're getting the breakup or divorce. You don't do that.
Yeah.
That's such a like mean power play. Like if you're saying that, you can't be surprised that your partner takes it as serious.
Yeah, like not love it. You can't.
That's what he's now kind of like, oh, I say something. It's like, you said you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
That's what you just said in front of her parents. So if you don't, you now have to actually explain that more. It's
Yeah, like have fun being like ever accepted in that family. You know, like the parents are truly never going to be like, oh yeah, we love our son-in-law. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, this reminds me, I listened to a podcast called First Communion with Esther Perel, and it's a couples therapist, and it's really fascinating. And this reminds me of the type of stuff. It's marriages where the resentment has built to levels that are just unbelievable. And it's a matter of like, you have to unravel so much further back. Because I'm like, this is about the money, but this is also, there are cracks that I'm sure started this relationship forever ago. Like to allow resentment to build to this level in which you are on so many levels.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Like it makes me sad to see this with people.
Yeah, the disconnect I feel like I really see here is with, you know, the practicality of their financial situation now getting in the way of them kind of understanding each other, because what he's asking her to do, right, let go of this job that she loves and she really wants, but he's like, hey, we can't, like, financially this is what I need from you, and she's almost like reluctant to do so. She's really wanting to keep this job, so I'm sure she feels misunderstood by her husband, and he is like, it's not about that, we just literally need money and that's all that I can think about. So it seems like almost like just two different brains that are clashing together, and that's where that resentment comes from, because now it's manifesting and them being like, you don't understand like the financial situation, and you don't understand how much I love my job, like we're not on the same page anymore.
Yeah, I feel like there's obvious, like, you got a big raise, and he said it's like, hey, like, we're steady now, like, it's like, we're not being able to save as much, or there's this wonderful, but I feel like in that situation, it's like, okay, like, what the fresh air, like, they can wait a bit, and then maybe have a conversation again about it, but, because she said, like, hey, like, let's maybe see what goes with that job, and, like, I think it's very reasonable, like, okay, like, we'll give it a few months, give it however long, and if it's still is a position where we need to be making money, or like we're making more money, that's not going to happen, then they can have that conversation again, versus them being very snarky and like, hey, I got my raise, but that doesn't mean that you can, like, you know, stop looking.
Right, she should write an erotica novel to make some extra money every month. What happened?
You know, I'm a very privileged person in this aspect, but like the job market for everything is just awful, right? So the idea of like, hey, quit your job and find a better one is like, all right, let's go buy some lottery tickets.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
that's a tough ask.
I mean, and let's point that out too, right? The underlying misogyny and all of this, of him being able to get an extra $35K a year, and her being told to her face that she's not valuable.
Yeah, I mean, also the huge thing we're missing, I don't think he said what their jobs are or what fields they're in. But that's a huge aspect too. Like, depending on the job field you're in, like, getting a new job might not be as... There's a lot of variables, I feel like, that are going on here. They're just not sounding like a team.
Yeah.
They are very much opponents, which, you know, finances are so stressful. Like that, if there's anything that makes or breaks so many couples, it's finances.
Yeah.
I understand that because it's a nightmare. But they have to be on each other's side. That's what happens when there's completely facing.
And like, I feel like the risk of like potentially leaving a job that she really loves to maybe get paid a little bit more money, but be in a potentially like miserable situation or a thing that she doesn't love, like, I would never want that for my partner. I would never want someone to put themselves in a worse position where they're less happy. I mean, it's your job. It's how you're spending so much of your time, you know, your 40 hours a week. Like, if that's something that you're not loving doing, that's not going to help. You have a lot of money, but that's not going to help the relationship.
I think she was in the wrong for, like, you know, in front of her parents being like, hey, we'll stop complaining about money.
Yeah.
He just took it you know, it's like, okay, and that wasn't nice of her at all.
Totally.
But you then ended the relationship.
Yeah. And again, like, I think the real challenging part of this, I think a lot of people are going to also have this insight of, like, you don't really know a money situation until you're in it. You know, when you're struggling with money and when you are like financially just like not successful and not feeling good, like I do also see that from a lot of people being like, it doesn't matter, like, and it is gonna help, and whatever we can do. And if they did have kids, which it's a blessing that they don't, like, that just adds to the stress of, like, that is the number one priority. So I do also see that side of it just being like, nothing else matters if we literally cannot put food on our plate and have a roof above our heads and stuff like that. It's just the fact that they aren't able to communicate about it and let each other in on that perspective. They're instead just holding on to those observations on their own and then letting it build up, and it's causing this fight between the two of them.
Look, there's a lot, as I said, there's a lot more in the story that I'm not qualified to, like, make a decision call on. But he was asked if he's the asshole for saying what he said. And yes, he is. And the verdict was asshole. Comments. You know how firearms experts tell people, don't put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to fire? Yeah, don't say the D word unless you're prepared to get D real hard. I want to go rock.
Yeah, seriously. Gotta get deep hard.
Someone said, I don't know why you're so worried if you're wrong or not. You'll be divorced in your family. Someone said, I'm sorry, did you say I genuinely wonder if I did something last night that brought you to my marriage? You told your wife you would be divorcing her every year and fight with her parents. If you can come back from that, it's going to be a long and hard road. You have a right to be angry about everything going on. You have a right to divorce her. But if you wanted to repair the marriage at all, that wasn't the way to do it.
She gets it.
First sentence. Yeah, I messed up. People are rightfully tearing into it for wondering if this marriage didn't end with those words making. I went to Jen last night to talk, and she refused to even say a word to me. She ended up locking herself in the bedroom and finally took her phone. I'm scheduling some consultations with the person attorneys today. Some people are asking about car accidents and family emergencies, mostly women. The car was neither of our faults. An uninsured driver hit my wife's 40-year-old car. Insurance gave us payments. Family emergencies were a handful of things that were just unlikely close to each other. I don't think you can really assign blame to these kinds of things. People will probably say I'm covering my ass or something, and I still do. Whatever. The big fuck is the house, which I was 50% responsible for. Before I wrote this post, I probably should have admitted to myself that I spoke up for things that didn't happen.
Wow.
Well, at least he had his moment of clarity and didn't double down and be like, no, like, I don't understand why she's
Right.
overreacting.
I never said that. Although I typed up this post and you did it.
And you rewrote the statement and didn't see how dumb it
Right.
was.
And still wrote, so what happens?
Yeah.
It is unfortunate, like, financial things like that, they do happen and they can be nobody's fault. And it's like, it's hard and you, the most important thing is you have to come together and communicate about it. Like, God, I mean, late in the night, Zuka, our dog, got attacked. He's got pulled by another dog.
Oh my god.
We had, like, and this is months ago, these are crazy problems that, like, we weren't prepared for. Like, that's, like, it was an expensive thing. And it was hard. It was like, okay, we're just gonna, like, take this together, we're gonna figure it out, we're gonna plan for it. And it's a hard thing to do. But God, you just have to make this happen.
Because these situations are so frustrating. They're so infuriating and unfair. And it's easy to allow those emotions to redirect to the people that are closest to you. I feel like that's honestly they're the often first targets.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot, and it's so important to just become stuck. This isn't about, we're not against each other.
Yeah.
Only people who are on each other's sides.
Yeah.
Because for every story like this, I also hear the stories where something tragic happens, like brings people closer. But that's not like an immediate instinctive thing. Like I think people really have to like work hard.
Yeah. That's frightening too, that like just 1 year things can be so up and positive and life is amazing, and then all of these like unfortunate things can happen to you, your partner, your life, and it almost just shatters. Like that I think is the scariest part.
it is scary, and it's why it's so important to take those moments to self-reflect, like every day. It's like you need to like know where you stand with yourself.
Yeah.
I'm never ready for it.
But prepared in a way of just like knowing who you're gonna have your support from and with, and be able to not, hopefully, like, you know, self-sabotage.
I think that this very baseline lesson is, yeah, don't use the T word unless you mean it.
Yeah.
If you say you're getting a divorce, you're getting a divorce. You don't need to backtrack on that.
No. And if the parents are there, you might as well cover them.
Come on. All right. Our next story. This comes from relationship advice. This is a 25-year-old man. I think that my wife, who's 23, thinks that I murdered her ex.
Also that.
About a month ago, while out shopping, my wife and I ran into her high school boyfriend in his mom on the street. It was a slightly awkward encounter. His mom made a comment about how weird they looked standing next to each other, like it was meant to be. We said we were in a bit of a hurry, and as we were walking away, he said something along the lines of, "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime." I didn't think too much of it at the moment. Sure, his mom was awkward, but they've been breaking up for about 7 years, and I do think he meant it just to be friendly. But still, we had a quick check-in after we both agreed it was awkward, and that I wasn't too upset, and that I wouldn't even necessarily mind anyone for coffee, and that if it became clear he still has feelings or was making advances, she cut them. She wasn't even sure she'd want to take him up on it, so it was purely hypothetical. That evening, I met up with some friends for drinks and was home at 1 p.m. The next morning, my wife got a message from her friend that her ex died. We got a few more details over the next couple of days, but it seemed he suffered from epilepsy, and that night in a freak accident had a seizure and fell and fatally hurt his arm. As far as I know, there's no foul play suspected or criminal investigation or anything like that. In the weeks since, she started acting really strange. She hasn't been abnormally sad that he died, but more like cautious and fearful of him. She hasn't made any kind of direct accusation, but has been asking me a lot of questions about where I went drinking with my friends, who I was with, what time each person arrived and left, etc. She's lately mentioned that she wanted to spend some time with a friend to catch up for about a week. I don't know how to address this. It feels crazy to have to ask her whether she thinks I murdered her, or to have to tell her that I didn't. I'm afraid to even bring it up, and whether that would just feed into whatever she seems to be going through. Any thoughts on how to deal with this? For the record, I didn't murder her ex.
Oh my god.
What an insane, unfortunate, like really tragic instance. Like that. Oh.
Yeah, scary town. I know, like, we literally heard like 2 sentences about this ex, but then you telling us that he died, like, I feel like I knew him. Like,
It's
that's,
so intense.
it's insanely intense.
Oh man, whoa.
Literally, I have no clue what as over the situation, I have no clue how to bring that up in like an earnest, like, relative, like, hey, you think I murdered her ex?
Or just like I had something to do with it, like, you know.
I guess my head is going to, you know, he knows she's acting distant. She's asking a lot of like random questions and things. I don't think he needs to come. If I'm him, if I'm in this situation, wild situation. Yeah. Absolutely wild situation. Let me be clear. Once again, situation I've never thought of. If I'm in this situation, I would probably not go and be like, "Hey, do you think I murdered your ex?" Yeah, it's like, because I don't know what level of grief she's going through, right? Because like, this is an ex from 7 years past, but like, grief hits people so differently. How they react is so different. Because it's like, it's one of the hardest things anyone can deal with. But I do think he'd be welcome to be like, hey, I've been feeling distant. You've been seeming distant. I know you're going through a lot, probably. Like, what's going through your head? Like, talk, like, you're willing to share what you're feeling, what you're thinking right now. Because he's jumping to this, like, and look, the questions are making you think it too.
Yeah.
Fair. But, you know, there are people who professionally to ask the questions because she's like, hey, did you go messing around? Did you cheat on me? What was going on with that thing? That is also a possibility. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we don't know because he hasn't talked to her.
I mean, you're right that grief is going to be different for everybody, and maybe for her in a way she's weirdly coping by having this hypothesis that it could be her current boyfriend. Like that could be almost a way in which she's kind of dealing with it, or I guess not dealing with it because she's just like freaked out that it has to do with her in some way.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's got to be a really jarring thing. Go back to something that you said in the movie, to be transported back in time essentially and see this person like, oh my god, like that's potentially like wanting to like reconnect with this person
Yeah.
in a way, and then having that like really jarring tragic event. Like I could see that for her, that would just be about mortality. Like, what if that happened to me? Like, what if I'm the person, like someone that I knew and that I just saw die? Like, that's got to be a really shocking and scary thing. And so maybe it was just like a weird, like you said, like a weird grief, like coping.
Yeah.
She could just be in a really weird headspace about it.
She could just be going through like, rightfully so, like a bit of an existential crisis there. Of just like, wait, oh my god, how quickly that happened to me.
Totally.
That happened to someone else that I loved.
Just rethinking everything and everyone in her life, and also the way that he described that specific interaction, all of it is kind of really trippy too. Like the mom, very inappropriately, being like, "You guys look so good together." Like that also is just such a like mind fuck to be like, I just like, I just saw these people. I just was like almost transported back into the relationship and the connection that we had all these years ago. I did it in front of my current partner, and then that same night, all of this happened. Like, I guess I would also just be constantly like overthinking those moments, and anything could almost be aroused for you. Like, yeah.
A couple comments. You don't need to ask her that. You need to ask her why her behavior towards you has changed. Communicate. Someone said, to be fair, it's a wild conclusion that likely has jumped to. Maybe her questions are not related to that at all. It's more likely that she thinks you're cheating on us right out. Someone last said, sometimes the death of someone from their past can have a really odd effect. I recently lost someone I used to work closely with, and it's hit me oddly hard. He was connected to a very happy period in my life with my group of friends, and it's like it put a cloud over those fond memories. Yeah, I mean, I am once again a very lucky person that I've not dealt with a ton of grief in my life. I mean, I have, but nothing of like a tragic nature of this sort, thankfully. But I mean, I feel like this could do so many things to me.
Yeah.
Really throw you through a loop, like you were saying.
Yeah, that comment too like made me think as well of like maybe her distance has to do like with something entirely different from those options as well. Of like maybe she just was like, oh, what if he and I never broke up? What if we were still together? Because that comment that his mom made of us being so good together, like maybe that could have been a different life that I could live, and that's why she's also like, I don't know what life I'm living right now. It really might not have to do with murder.
There's so much to process because there's such a finality to that, and that really makes you just think in so many ways that you never think before. I'm not the one to give advice to this person, but like if I'm him, like putting myself in his shoes, I think the only thing you can do is like be there for her, communicate to her that you like it's here to listen, and like ask her like if he wants to ask her like, hey, I've been feeling like with distance, and then just patience because it can take a couple weeks. It's probably gonna take her some time to figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, if this escalates and she does accuse you of murder, then that's on the table. But that hasn't happened before.
It's like, update, guys. I actually did murder.
I got super drunk. It was my bad.
Okay, backstory on her and I. Childhood friends, started dating in middle school, dated through high school. She was accepted to her dream college and so was I, on opposite ends of the country. Virginia Tech for her and Stanford for me. We did long term for 2 years until deciding to let each other live their life and be more connected to maybe someone closer if it was going to happen. This was a mutual decision and we broke up contact that way so that we could bond. Her parents still talk to me on occasion. We live 4 hours away. Same with my sister, 20 minutes away, and her grandparents, 2 hours away, but never about her my request. So flash forward, I have been getting calls from a weird number once every month since September and just didn't answer because I don't answer numbers I don't know. Figure if important they would read a message. Ex's sister comes by and says, "Hey, this is from Nicole. She said you can read it and respond if you want, and if not, then she will understand soon enough." For the life of me, I have forgotten our weird promise, but the letter goes as this. Hey Anthony, I know neither of us have been in contact in the last 10 years, and I'm asking if you still remember the promise we made. I have no right to ask it, and if you have moved on, then it's okay, as I want you to be happy. First and foremost, I want you to know this isn't a desperation attempt because I am late. My sister is quite keen on giving that as the possible reason as to why I am feeling this way, without me bringing up that little promise. This is more along the lines of, I just can't imagine my life with anyone else. I, yes, have been on many dates and had one relationship that lasted over a year, but there was always this lack of feeling in me that, well, in all honesty, they weren't you. You're the guy I knew instantly when we were young that I would want to be with forever, the guy who made me smile, that I could wake up next to and was genuinely happy knowing that we were together. In my mind, you, Anthony, had been my only wanted desire. That day we decided to try to move on because of the distance. I won't lie. It took me about a year to realize how stupid that was. It was mutual, but my feelings are that I pushed you towards it. I honestly feel like the first suggestion of giving time to each other to finish school and not have to try and coordinate our lives was the stupidest mistake I could ever have made. Anthony, you are my soulmate, my love, my life, and that is why what comes next I say with all fear aside. I am ready to leave everything and find a new job, to move back to Candyland and be with you. This is Candyland. This is not giving you address. I'm fully prepared to do this if you even think there can be a chance of us again. And this is all caps. I love you. I love you and nobody else will ever take the place you have in my heart. I talked to my parents and friends. They are in full support of this. Also, thank you so much for being there for my parents when they needed help living and working on Dad's bike shop. I had no idea until a few days ago. I am fully committed to being yours. I want to be part of your life and want you to be a man forever. Growing old, seeing the world change the lives we live together as one. And most importantly, I just want us to be happy. I have wasted my time holding back what I have wanted to say for the last few years. Anthony, I love you so much. I want to live my life with you. I'm prepared to leave it all for you. And lastly, my love, my childhood friend, my soulmate. I'm more than prepared to be your wife and be the mother to our children. If I don't hear back by the end of the month, I will assume you have moved on for the better, and will do my best to not reach out. If you do decide otherwise, I have left my number in love and so grateful for childhood. To be honest, I don't know if I should respond or what I should do. She left her number, one that has been calling me, and her email. I'm conflicted a lot, really. I literally cried when I read the letter, and it brought back a lot of emotions that I didn't think were still there. Since Michelle, Nicole, and I all went to the same high school, they both know each other, and I'm honestly afraid Michelle would tell me to go be with her without a second thought if I told her about Nicole reaching out, only just knowing how she is as a person. I've been debating it since getting the letter yesterday, and since I always seek good advice here, I thought to ask about her family. If this isn't the right summer, I can repost somewhere else and apologize if so.
Wow. That's a lot.
These are some crazy stories today, man.
Okay. This is how I'm gonna make it lighthearted. It's a metaphor, right? Because Anthony left, and Michelle is like his channel, and Nicole is Ian reaching out. Anthony, I love you.
So right.
Layers.
Well, it's kind of like Ian, that's Rhett and Link. Ian is Anthony in this story. He left, and he was Rhett and Link. Or no. Ian's
then
with
Anthony
and
reached
Anthony
out.
comes back and says, hey, comes back, and Ian's like,
Yeah, the updates just move on Smosh.
and Rhett and Link cheat on him, so.
The parents are like the drag guys or something. They just hang out occasionally.
So we solved it. That's your answer.
So we solved it, we figured it out.
Wow.
What a whirlwind.
This is really a lot.
That is so, I mean, it's just the
she would be okay with
Or
it.
that he says, I'm getting the sense that based on, he's like saying who Michelle is, if I told her about this letter Michelle expressed, would go be okay.
Right.
Now, I might be inferring too much there, but he said, like, I'm honestly afraid Michelle would tell me to go be with her without a second thought if I told her about Nicole reaching out, only just knowing how she is as a person. This can be interpreted in so many ways because he's like, he'll tell me to go be with her without a second thought. It could be that Michelle saw them dating in high school and was like, oh, that's for sure it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's circle back to, he's addressed at the beginning, like, oh, Michelle and I are not aligned on kids. That's a hard line for her. She does not want kids. I think she wants to get married, but he does. I'm like, so you know that, like, this, like, you guys have very different ideas.
Yeah.
She's not gonna have kids. And, like, that's her choice, and she's sticking with that.
We don't have to go too much further into this if we don't want to, but I also, obviously we have to point out that Michelle did cheat on him as well.
Yeah.
I can't say that I necessarily support the idea of being like, oh, you know, we're super happy together except this one time she cheated on me. We're fine. We're fine.
Like a huge caveat.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, man.
And that's obviously, you know, we don't know all of the context, and he has described it as drunken night, was a mistake, one time, blah, blah, blah. But those are very loaded blah, blah, blahs. There's definitely a lot there. And also, you don't just cheat on your partner. There has been a lot going on. There was definitely a lot of recovery on the other end. So it seems like just from reading this story, the obvious, I feel like, takeaway is that the audience is going to root for Anthony and Nicole to come together and be like, this is something that makes sense, and they separated also not out of conflict, but just because of circumstances. This is the classic, let them go, if you love them, if you come back together, that kind of thing, and she's shooting her shot, and she's being pretty respectful about it, I think.
He's writing this Reddit post after he read that letter. And he starts it off by talking about how he was hurt, how she cheated on him, and also that he was on these things. I'm like, I feel like you've made the decision.
That's a great point.
I feel like the story you're telling us, that you do really are considering this.
He's also like still very connected to Nicole. Like even though he set out a boundary, which is like I'm still like I care about your parents and your family, and like I want to see them, but I don't want them to talk to me about you. Like that is a boundary that he set, but he's still seeing her parents and sister on a regular basis. And I don't believe that Michelle didn't know about that. You know that's like something that's secret from her. Like I'm sure Michelle knows, like oh yeah, he's still like with his ex or like sees her family. And she's probably comfortable and fine with that.
Or maybe that's what spurred the cheating.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like it could be. But yeah, I don't know. I think so. That's why. Yeah, when she said like, or when he said that she probably just told me to go do it. Like, that's why I interpreted it as like she probably would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like you should go do that.
Yeah, yeah. He said he was like tearing up reading it and stuff. There is a connection. Maybe he's just, to your point, writing this to make himself almost feel okay about doing it. Like kind of trying to seek permission a little bit. Being like, is this okay if I pursue this? I agree. I think it is.
I think I'm a little biased right now because reading this story, he's giving us the full backstory, and in all of this, it's very sweet and touching. Nicole did write this letter not knowing anything about his current relationship, unless the parents are the ones that communicated to her about his current relationship.
Yeah.
Like it's not their relationship, she read it or anything like that. But like, we have this situation where he's in a relationship where she cheated on him. What if this situation was different? If he was married happily with kids, but I don't know. I guess we can play those hypotheticals. Like this is in this current context, it seems sweet and everything to me.
Yeah, but is it fair to send a letter to an ex that you have not spoken to in a decade and could possibly like mess with their feelings? Like, yeah, in a way, it could also be.
Yeah, you're my soulmate. You're my soulmate. All these things. It is. I was surprised we got to that point instead of like, hey, like, would you want to meet up and like see if it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
People are not the same person.
Totally.
curious if she also, or if he asked like her parents like, please don't talk to me or talk about me to your daughter, or if like she, when talking to her parents, if they were kind of like giving her updates on him or something like
Yeah,
that.
I feel like they have to have at least, or at least the like basis of like, hey, I was thinking about reaching out to him. Do you know if he's seeing anyone? Like, I feel like there had to have been that communication, but you're right.
It was bold regardless. I mean, to know who's in a relationship and decide to be like, I don't know, like, there are a lot of versions of that, but I think you're absolutely shitty person. But we are getting this story. There's comments here. Someone said, you only have one life, and your current relationship is not going anywhere, so take the shot. Someone else said, you have only one life to live, and you need to ask yourself what you really want out of it. Your current girlfriend does not want what you want. The ex is calling, and I promise me wrong. I will have to sit down with her ex first to see if she's being really serious about this, as in, is this what she really wants for herself? Then go through everything yourself and decide what you want to be in 10 years. If you want to be a dad like her, ask yourself who you see becoming a parent. Honestly, you don't have much to lose from your current girlfriend at this point when it comes to what you want. What do you have to lose meeting the ex? Not much at this point, just go and see what happens. Someone said, I wouldn't go for either. Michelle doesn't want what you want. Nicole is looking for several studs in fantasy land that hasn't existed for 10 years. You deserve better than that. Someone said, holy shit, Bones. I feel like I'm watching a lifetime movie except for the world titles. Bear in mind though, she may not be the same person she was 10 years ago. You guys may not be as compatible as before. I have no advice on what I'm doing this. I think what's I'm struggling with is I'm reading this as a story, and it is coming across to me. I'm reading it as a fiction. I'm like, in real life, if this really happened to me, I feel this would be so much more mixed. And if this happened to someone I know, so I'm like, anyways, that update. Yes.
Update, please.
Yes. One day later, I talked to my current girlfriend first. We had a big talk that was the last 6 hours we were hiking about what we were both wanting in the future. She made it clear that kids and adoption are out of the plan and suggested that we should just be friends if that's how it should be in the future. I told her that I would still be friends with her no matter what since all the things we do together, and she laughed and said, no kids, and I keep my best friend who loves to do the same things I do. Cha-ching, it's all good. Rather we both be happy in the long run. Don't feel too bad or think this is a mistake. But if it's something I want to pursue because of the history we had, then she has no ill feelings towards me going that route. Also said if it doesn't work out, then I can always go back to plan, no kids, and freedom. Thanked me for bringing it up to her, then in her typical fashion joked about me going to be reband for a while. The rest of the hike was pretty much us talking like we normally do in the big beach. When we got to the trailhead, I asked if she wanted any alone time. She said no, and that she eventually thought this would happen as we got older. Asked me if we can still do the fun stuff until something else happens in our lives, and I told her yes, of course. She said no harm in that, and that was that. We were at the mall for her girls' lunch and sitting at the table like a weirdo. Yeah, until I called the ex and see what she was like, that is it for me. Update number 2. 2 years later.
We got a 1 day and then 2 years?
2 years later, he's like, okay. I finally, took me a long time to read it, but
Or he's like, finally got back to me right again.
we shortened this update. So, he writes, good evening, Redditors. A while back, 2019, I posted here in relationship advice about an ex that reached out after a breakup. Recently, I was messaged by a few different people asking for an update. Whether you three have been refreshing the page since then or it just randomly showed up in your searches, I wanted to post up the conclusion of what happened, what is still happening, and the future since the post was made. After Michelle and I ended our relationship, nothing changed aside from living together and sex. Nicole and I started to make plans for when she came out here for her grandma's birthday. Talking on the phone a lot, emails back and forth, we decided on waiting to video chat or send pics to another since it wasn't too far off when she would be visiting and we thought it would be a good surprise. The initial hello was awkward as hell. When she got out of the terminal, I recognized her right off the bat and was amazed that she pretty much looked exactly the same as when I last remembered. I had seen pictures of her sisters and parents, but I was floored at how much she hadn't changed in the last 10 years. Getting into the car, we kind of just stared at one another for a minute, and she started off with the, well, if you don't drive anywhere, people are going to start honking this about that. That started our week-long catching up journey. We first went to get some food and decided on pizza. Oh yeah, he writes.
Ew.
was a dream coming true, and it too went by so fast that honestly it feels like it was yesterday. She actually asked me to marry her a few months later in my sickness. She had glowed in the dark box set up to ask me to ride and we went up to the deck to watch the stars. I feel like I'm running a rant here, so much for not every detail. Well, it's been close to a couple years now since everything started. We had a beautiful daughter together, adopted. We had issues, she would give it a good break. Our dogs are jerks and doofuses. Michelle and Nicole had met and we were all friends again. They actually hang out a lot together. She has moved on and we still do a lot of our favorite hobbies together as a group or separately. With COVID and us being at home non-stop together, it's been just fine. Are things perfect? No. But nothing ever is. We had our issues in the beginning and still squabble over stupid things at times. To everyone that was part of the initial journey, I hope you've enjoyed this follow-up. This was the best decision, and my only regret is that we didn't reconcile our relationship earlier. This has gone by in a flash, and honestly, I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. Each day is refreshing, and a smile rarely leaves my face. I get to spend my life with not only my first love and childhood friend, but also with great friends and family that are always there for both of us. That worked out.
The happiest ending possible.
Wow, I'm so happy for
I'm
that.
very happy to, because that line could have gone a lot of different directions.
Right. I feel like when you see this, like that move kind of be made, or even just like that thought of like reconnecting with an ex, it's like it's almost like they're on their way already. And you're like, do I say something? And it's like, oh, I should probably do that, you know? And it's like that's a whole other movie on its own. But this couldn't have worked out better. The fact that they're all three together.
Yeah. Yeah. And they have a daughter. It's awesome. I'm very happy. Very happy. That is a good one. Yeah. It's been a treat. Thank you both for that. X's and O's. Maybe O's.
Kisses, right?
Kisses and hugs.
I think the O's are hugs.
Those are hugs. So you have to kiss me to hug her up.
No.
Okay.
No. You say hugs and kisses, and you say X and O. So X's are hugs and O's are kisses.
Okay, in the comments below, let's settle this. Are the X's kisses or the O's kisses? Or which ones are the hugs? I think I always took the O's as hugs.
But you say X first. You say hugs and kisses. You know? XO.
I think you should kiss and hug me just to be safe.
Where my kiss at?
Guys, let us know what other subreddits and themes you'd like us to do on this show, and we will see you next Saturday. Goodbye.
Bye.